Hello, world. How we doing? Welcome to episode 1 of your Friendly Neighborhood Fatties Hockey Podcast. We're gonna have to workshop a name for that. We'll figure that out eventually. I am Shloop, one of your Friendly Neighborhood Fatties. With me today is not the man on the logo, but the man who will be talking hockey with me all year long. Lee Bob Baker. How we doing? How we feeling?
Nice to join you. Feeling good. Ready for hockey to start. Glad beer league started, but just makes me want to watch NHL hockey that much more. So
yeah, I'm excited to do this. We've been talking about it for a little bit now, not quite as long as some other things we've been talking about, on the channel. But yeah, we're here doing this. We're gonna be here all season, hopefully, talking about anything NHL, and maybe we'll get into some beer league hockey. Go Rats. But I mean, getting into us, we've played hockey pretty much our whole lives. We met when we were probably Pee-wees. When we started playing together around Pee-wees.
Yep. Yeah.
And now we're playing beer league. We're beer league heroes together.
I don't know about heroes. But...
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if I'm a beer league hero at this point. I'm more of just a beer league player. But yeah, doing that. I mean, we're gonna talk a lot of hockey on this podcast. I don't know if I know anybody that watches more hockey than you.
Yeah.
Other than that doesn't make money off of it.
Yeah. Been an obsession my whole life. Paying for the package back when it was crazy expensive, and now it's cheap.
Free.
Man, I love it.
$5 on ESPN.
Would have kept paying for it. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, I think you're. I mean, we'll get into it. I know we talked a little bit about everything, but one thing I didn't say is, even going into our fantasy draft, I think you're secretly a Leafs fan, but we'll dive into that over this. But yeah, we're gonna talk all
fun to watch.
Yeah, fun to watch lose. But yeah, we're gonna get into everything hockey on this, everything NHL, maybe even the little PWHL. Well, I was gonna bring up because they just announced all the because last year it was only team names, like the city names, and this year they announced the logos and the actual team names. I was gonna pull that up, but maybe we'll do that later. But yeah, well, maybe we'll talk about that a little bit this year. Obviously, I'm a Flyers fan. He's a Wings fan. We're gonna talk a lot of Flyers and Wings, a lot of Flyers and Wings on this podcast. Amongst all the NHL show, we got some other fun games planned for the end of this. But yeah, let's just go ahead and get into it. I don't really want to talk about myself, so yeah, let's talk about everything else. Getting into the NHL offseason, before we get into the whole all the moves and everything, we'll obviously talk about the biggest headline of the offseason, which was the tragedy of the Gaudreaus and how sad and there's not too many celebrity level figure, even athlete level figures that actually make me sad. Yeah. But Gaudreaus was definitely one of them. I mean, Gaudreau was never a Flyer, but he always felt like he was a Flyer. I think he was from Philly. He was from South Jersey, which is basically Philly. He grew up a Flyers fan. He was always part of the Flyer fandom. He I thought there was a good chance he was coming to Philly last offseason before he signed in Columbus, and it's definitely it sucks. It definitely sucks. I didn't know too much about Matthews' hockey career before the incident and everything, but Johnny was one of my favorite players, and there's not too many players I like in the NHL that aren't Flyers or former Flyers or connected to the Flyers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, huge tragedy. Anytime something comes out of nowhere like that, strikes home.
Especially with their boys right there.
A little bit more. I got 2 boys. They're 5 and 2. Yeah, that one hit home a little bit. Just thinking of the future, thinking like I could not imagine, man. I don't even like thinking about it. Both your kids growing up. I mean, played hockey, whole lives together.
Can
Like,
imagine.
what more are you looking for? And then to have
Yeah.
them being best friends and something like that happen, just hanging out, like,
At
oh,
a family event too just makes it all so
oh,
much worse, and couldn't imagine what like his sister's dealing with, and
no,
just
no, no,
insane. It's
yeah,
absolutely insane.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
senseless,
like,
insane
and the guy didn't seem remorseful at all,
at all.
which is the craziest thing to me.
No.
Like, just seemed like he was annoyed that he was getting tied up.
Yeah. Like, what I do wrong?
Yeah,
Bring it on the
yeah,
road.
yeah.
Anyway, yeah, we're not gonna dive too much into all that, but yeah, sucks, terrible. Shout out to the Gaudreau families, and then you find out like too. I know, like I think we already knew like Maddie's wife was pregnant, and then
Yeah.
you find out Johnny's wife was pregnant too in the last few weeks. Like it's
Yep.
absolutely crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Just could not imagine having to deal with anything in that sense.
Supposed to be a happy time, happy event, and it turned to that.
Yeah,
There's no words.
it's crazy.
No words for that.
Absolutely insane. Yeah, sorry to start this podcast off on a somber note, but yeah, prayers out to all the Gaudreau family, and I'm sure they'll get their. A lot of teams will praise the Gaudreaus over the opening parts of the season. I know the players. I think they're all wearing stickers on their helmets this year for the Gaudreaus and
Yeah.
all that. So sucks. Prayers to them. Life
Yeah.
sucks. I get it. But back to better parts, better days, I guess. We're going to get back into the NHL offseason here. Tons of moves, tons of trades, tons of signings. I'm just going to run through a lot of these, I guess. I got a couple. Not sure how to approach this, whether I should just go in order of dates or just kind of the bigger names, and we'll just break it down as we go. All right, so we'll start off. Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay brings in Jake Gunsel. What do you think of that? I love it.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Would have loved to see Stammer there, with him.
Yeah, for sure.
And see what that would be like. But Getzel's someone that he's just a phenomenal player. He's been good in Pittsburgh forever. Carolina, he was even good last year at the end. Yeah. I was really surprised to see that they didn't try to retain him, or maybe that just didn't go anywhere. Yeah, I don't know. I thought he was staying there long term.
Yeah, apparently, from what I've read, they tried everything they could, but Gunsel didn't want to stay there. I guess I don't know.
Yeah.
So maybe they offered him a little less. I don't know. Really, at the end of the day, I don't know because I'm not one of those guys. But yeah, I think Gunsel signing there is great. Like, as good as Crosby is and a playmaker that he is, I think Cooch at this point in their careers are a better playmaker. And the one thing that Gunsel never had playing with Crosby in Pittsburgh was a third line or a third part of that line. And he's going to have Brad Point, who is also a top player in the league. I think there's no reason why Gunsel couldn't end up topping 40 goals this year, maybe even topping 50 goals. I like that line a lot. I like Kucherov a lot this year. I like Tampa Bay a lot this year. We'll get into more of that later in some of our discussions in that. But
And then anytime you got Hedman and Vasilevsky still in the back end,
and that's the thing too. Vasky, one of the reasons I like Tampa Bay this year is Vasky not only is still there, but he's going to have he wasn't healthy last year. He came into the end of the season injured. I think he's going to have a full off season this year. I still think he's one of the top goalies in the league.
Yeah.
They did get rid of Sergachev. We're going to talk about them too. They not only traded Sergachev to Utah, which we'll get into in a minute, but the probably major acquisition of the offseason was Steven Stamkos going to Nashville. I love Stamkos. I still think he has plenty in the tank to offer. I think he's still a top forward. He's still a 40-goal scorer. And I love Nashville. Love everything about them. Again, I will get into more of this because they're a big part of the end of my discussion here. But yeah.
Yeah. I think, everything Nashville had going on last year, they've never really had like that guy.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
They're
I
a
can't even
defensive.
remember who the last person they've had that was like that level of a forward.
Yeah. I mean, Fleet Forsberg popped off last year as that kind of that guy, but
Yeah.
they've always been like, they're basically like, if you really want to break it, like they're basically like defense university of the NHL. Like since we've been watching hockey,
play deep,
like,
play hard.
They produce NHL all-star defensemen and then just get rid of them because they can't contain 6 guys. Like every year they just have a new guy that pops off, dating all the way back to fucking Shea Weber and Ryan Suter. Like, I mean, PK wasn't their guy, but they brought him in. I mean, now you got Yossi, you had Ekholm there, you had Fabro there now. Like, they just produce NHL defensemen. They're a great defensive team. And now you're adding Steven Stamkos, who actually isn't even projected to play on the top line. He's actually going to be playing on the second line with another acquisition in Jordan Marchessault from Vegas, which just
lot to prove there.
Yeah, and that's like Nashville was a playoff team last year, and it wasn't because their offense is great. Like, they have a phenomenal top line, but they play good defense, and their depth is all right. Now you basically add a second actual scoring line. You let Evangelista and Sessions play on the third line. Like, I think they're going to be pretty good.
Yeah, I agree. And Saros and that, stopping everything that comes his way for the most part. Like,
I got a lot to say on Saros, but I'm going to leave that for later in our episode here because of reasons we'll get to. But same thing with Yossi. Yossi was another guy that I don't want to spoil too much, but we're going to talk about it. I guess I got to talk about Yossi a little. Yossi, I think, is one of the best defensemen in the league. He's not. I mean, he's obviously one of the best offensive defensemen, but he does it all. He plays every situation. He plays 25 plus minutes a night. Like, I don't know. And then you, like I said, you have a great goaltender, and now you're adding some offense on that. And I think Nashville's probably had the best offseason of the entire league.
Yeah,
I don't know if any team had a better offseason than Nashville. Because not only that, they also added Brady Shea. Brady Shea from Carolina. Again, adding to their defense that was already good.
Retaining the stars and bringing in more.
And now you got literally now you got a little bit even more scoring offense from Shea on a second line pairing. Like, they should be pretty good this year.
Yeah, I didn't even realize, I guess until you said it, like Stammer on the second line with Marchessault, like he's got something to prove. They pretty much made moves and said, we don't have the money for you. See you later.
And Marchessault is an original guy. He's the guy, one of the guys that started there with like Carlson and everything. He was the Misfits line.
Yeah.
They were like, sorry, like just
don't have the money for you. See you later.
Move on from you. We'd rather pay Hurdle.
Yeah. Brought in people and just got rid of him, even though he's been phenomenal.
One of their best players in franchise history. Granted, it's a small franchise. So.
Still.
Yeah, so that's Nashville.
Him and Stammer, that should be fun. That should be a really good second line.
Yeah, probably. I mean, on paper, probably one of the better already second lines in the NHL.
Yeah.
I don't know if on paper you're going to find a better line than the Stamkos, Marchessault, and whoever's playing in the middle of that line.
I don't know. I mean, you go to the wings. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. All right, let's see who's next. Sam Reinhart re-ups and stays in Florida for 8.5 a year. So my thoughts on this one: obviously, Sam Reinhart scored 57 in the regular season last year, and then like 70 plus if you count the playoffs. Obviously, earned his contract. He took a pay cut at signing only 8.5 to stay in Florida. Tax-free state. I'm sure that helped out.
Oh yeah.
My biggest thoughts on Sam Reinhart, because when this first happened in the offseason, Sam Reinhart re-upping at 8.5 is when Konechny was still getting his contract with the Flyers. And I was like, that's good. That should be good for us. Like, if Sam if Reinhart is signing for 8.5, scoring 57 goals in the regular season, connecting should not be more than that. But the problem with that is that Reinhart did not sign at value. If Reinhart hit free agency, he's making what, $12 million probably.
Yeah.
By some team that pays that.
Yeah.
So I understand, and at the end of the day, connecting, you pay for goals, and that's. But again, staying in a tax-free state, $8.5 million is a lot more equivalent to paying $12 million in New York or whatever, California or any of that shit.
Yep.
So Connecting ends up signing, I think, 8.75, something around that, a little bit more than Reinhart, which was a little heartbreaking, but understandable because he probably is worth it. But yeah, I think them signing Reinhart 8.5 is probably great for them because I don't think there's a high likelihood that Reinhart scores 57 again this year.
Yeah.
So I think there's probably a little bit of regression, but if you're only paying $8.5 million, you can take that regression and be fine. Right. So what do you think about Reinhart staying in taking a little pay cut in Florida?
Yeah. Well, and how many years left does Bob have too? So he's coming off here in probably a couple years.
I think he's probably got 3 or 4
years. It's 3 years left.
Yeah, something like that.
Around there.
Yeah, but yeah, 8.5 is nothing. Especially, I mean, even if he drops down to 40 goals, like 8.5 is still good for a 40 goal scorer. Like, so I think it's a great deal. I think for both sides.
Mm-hmm.
Good for Stan Reinhart. He wasn't much before he went to Florida. Everybody was calling him a bust, being in Buffalo. He was the Buffalo, right? Yeah, Buffalo before that.
Yep.
So yeah, like that. I also
maybe he enjoys the warmth a little bit more. I don't know. Buffalo is cold. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Like, you're telling me you can make fucking $8 million to just chill out in Miami all year long? Come on.
Yeah.
Who would say no to that? Come on.
Yeah. Rather than stay in Buffalo. Yeah.
Go sign $12 million to play in fucking Northern Canada. Like, come on.
It's like, oh, what are you doing today? It's your off day. It's like, oh, I'm gonna go golf, I think. Like, okay.
No.
It's December, but okay.
Guys in Calgary are like, I'm gonna go turn the heat on so I don't freeze.
Yeah.
All right. Next we have Brandon Montour signs with Seattle. Want to give your thoughts first?
I don't have much. I mean, I like him. I paid attention a little bit more on playoffs. I didn't with him. I didn't watch him too much before that. Little surprised Florida let him go. Well, I mean, what do you get paid? What do you get paid out there?
He did get. I know. I'm gonna look at it right now. I know he did get paid, which was the problem because Florida doesn't have money.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know he got paid to go there. My thing with him, I do like him a lot there because he's basically the guy there. They're gonna basically let him freewheel and deal. He signed 7 years, $50 million in Seattle.
Yeah.
So 7-1 for a year.
Not bad. I mean, that's what you're paying.
It's what you're paying for a top guy,
good, solid defenseman that can score some points
60 plus points. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot of points.
Yeah. And that's what Seattle needs. Seattle needs those guys. They have Vince Dunn on the back end who can score some points, but you need more than one guy back there. And
yeah,
I mean, Montour is coming on. I mean, not only did he have a good year, but you want a Stanley Cup as well. You got to pay for that. Bring a little experience to the team, especially a franchise that's brand new. You want some guys.
Well, I bet it feels a little bit better going somewhere else.
Yeah,
and getting paid after you win the Cup. So
and like you were literally there. You're going to Seattle, and you're probably being looked at as like a top guy there. Especially like leadership wise. I mean, you won a cup. Everybody's been like, it's kind of why you're being brought in. So I like that one a lot. I do like. They also brought in Chandler Stevenson. They also paid him. Let me look up his contract. I remember when I first seen this, I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure they overpaid him. They signed Chandler Stevenson to a 7-year, $43 million contract, 6.25 a year. I'm not entirely sold on. Chandler Stevens is a good depth player for Vegas, but I don't know if he's a guy who's quite reached that output yet. I mean, he's had a career high of about 50-something points. I don't know if you're paying for potential, I guess, at this point. Maybe that's what Seattle needs to do.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure
they're
they
just
should
filling
do.
spots.
Yeah, but I'm also not sure they should do that for 7 years.
No.
You bring in Chandler Stevenson at $6 million a year for like a couple, okay, but it's not even for 7 years. I don't know if he's gonna ever pan out to be, especially at the end of that contract. But yeah, I mean,
what's his highest point total?
Not one I'm
64,
entirely
65.
sold on.
That's not bad. A couple of years ago, last year, a little bit of regression at 51 points.
I just don't know if he has I don't know if he has like a 70, 80 point ceiling.
Yeah,
he's a great like 2-3C, and that's just
right.
I guess it's just me playing my GM mode, and not paying guys.
But at the same point, with down the road, maybe 6.5 for a 3C.
The cap's going up. I mean,
7 years from now.
Yeah, I don't think I've adjusted to the new cap like going up, and I'm still on the old scale. And $6.5, $7 million is what you give the scorers,
and
probably even more than that, I guess. But yeah, maybe it's not too bad. I just don't know if I'm sold on Chandler Stevenson. But yeah.
Anyways. I mean, I'm not sold on Seattle at all. So
yeah, I guess that might be part of it too. I don't think I like Seattle. I think they even changed coaches this year, right? They fired Haxtell. Don't remember who they brought in. Don't really care. Not more the same. Didn't think Seattle was going to be good last year, but was it last year? No, it was the year before they snuck in. Right? They went off at the end of the year and got in. They scored like 100 points 2 years ago.
It was Dan Bilsma.
Oh, they signed with Bilsma,
yeah.
Yep, that's who it was.
Still ain't gonna be good.
But yeah, don't care. Again, don't care. I like the Penguins.
Yeah.
Anyways, next in the chat is Matt Duchene re-ups in Dallas. Don't have too many opinions. I think it's a good depth signing. Didn't really overpay him, is what it is.
Yeah.
I like Dallas as a whole. I think Dallas is probably arguably the deepest team in the league, forward-wise.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if there's a better group of 12 than the Dallas is 12.
Yeah, I loved
especially their
Jason
9. Jason Robertson.
Yeah, I love Jason Robertson.
So
love him. Watch him. I bet him almost every time I have the option. Bet him points.
So yeah, so he's one of my favorite players. And getting into our game later, in the most improved player, he was, when I originally proposed it, he was the guy I first thought of. And we'll talk about him in a little bit. But yeah, he was the first guy I thought of, and because of he had a little bit of a fall off last year, and I think he can get back to 100-point player this year. But I like Dallas a lot. I think Dallas is pretty good. I have them in the Western Conference Finals, losing, but I do have them in the Western Conference. I got Elias Lindholm going to the Bruins, and for about $8 million a year. I don't know if Elias Lindholm is worth what he's getting paid, but the Bruins did need a center, and they needed to pay somebody $8 million to play center for them. And the Bruins do seem to get pretty good years out of players, and I think Lindholm fits that system. He'll probably be pretty good playing, whether it's on Pasternak's wing or Marchand's wing. He'll probably have a pretty good year. So,
yeah, I love Pasta. I think he carries them just like he always does.
Good chance Pasta scores 50 this year.
Yeah,
he was one of the guys on the short list for the Hart. I'm just not sure if it's hard to project a guy to score 70 goals, and I don't know if you can win an MVP if you don't score 70 goals if you're not putting up 140 points.
Right.
So it's a very it's a very tough thing to put there. I don't know. But leaving Boston goes DeBrusk goes to Vancouver. I don't really have many thoughts. I don't think DeBrusk is that great of a player. Solid depth player.
Yes, I love him for that. I do. Yeah. I think he was a little better in Boston than he's going to be elsewhere. Yeah. And that's just because Boston's a little more big time, a little more front and center. So
everybody's expecting
he shows up.
Yeah, everybody was expecting DeBrusque to be like this guy for years. Every year, he's going to be the guy this year, and it just didn't happen. I don't think he's going to be that guy in Vancouver all of a sudden.
Yeah,
I think it's very comparable. But yeah, sticking on Boston. Let me go to a couple other and sticking with Boston. We'll go. Which one do you want to talk about first? We'll go Lindmark. So they trade Lindmark to the Sens for somebody who I don't see at the moment. They trade
Korpisalo and
it was Korpisalo, somebody and somebody.
I thought it was a prospect.
A prospect and like a first, I think, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. Bruins get. God, this is bad. This is okay. They get Korpisalo, Matt Kostilik, and a 2024 first round pick. I don't know who they drafted with that pick. That was this year. Which I don't hate either side of that, I guess. Like the Bruins needed to clear space. They also needed to pick a goalie. They couldn't pay both of them. They get a prospect out of it. They get a first round pick. They also get a backup goalie. Korpisalo, I don't think is terrible.
He was good a couple years ago.
He was good. He was all right. He was pretty good playing with LA, who's a good defensive team. When he had a good defensive team in him, he was an all right goalie. And then he goes to Ottawa, who last year struggled to play defense. They gave him a lot of chances, and he's just not that type of guy. So I don't hate that trade. They bring him in. Lindmark goes to Ottawa. Ottawa is going to be my most improved team of the year, mostly because of that pick and a couple other ones. But we'll get into that later. But yeah, Allmark to the Sens. What do you think?
I like it. They need a goalie. It's hard with the style they play. They play fast. They play wide open. They don't play hard D. So there's a lot of you're giving up a lot of opportunities. They live and die by that. It's tough on a goalie. It's tough on a goalie mentally. You make a couple of those go by that you want. Even though it's a grade A chance, like the goalie, you want to stop it, man. It's
gotta do your job. It's always the
goal. It's tough, dude. It's tough. So it's tough mentally, especially to play a whole year like that. That's a hard way to go about it. I don't know. I still like him. Some goalies can play like that and they're fine. Some goalies can't. I was not one of those.
So part of the reason, and I'll get into this, I guess maybe more in a bit, but part of the reason I like Allmark, because I think he can play, because obviously he's been in Boston. He went in the Vezina a couple years ago with Boston, and I think now he hasn't played that style in a while. But let's not forget where he started. He started in Buffalo. They played that style for years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He got
Buffalo had another goalie walk.
Buffalo paid him, let him come over Boston paid him from Buffalo because they see he can be a good fucking goaltender. He just didn't get a lot of help when he was in Buffalo.
Yeah.
And I think Ottawa's at this point a little bit better than when Allmark was in Buffalo. So I do like the Sens a little bit this year.
Well, and the craziest part about all that is, dealing Allmark without having Swayman signed. I know we're a little late on that now that Swayman signed, but still, like, to deal him without having that deal, and that could have blown up in your face is crazy. Yeah. I'm glad I'm not a Bruins fan because that would have drove me nuts all summer, thinking where's our goalie? Where's our goalie?
If I was a Bruins fan and we traded Allmark, I would have expected Swayman to sign like the next day.
Yeah.
And the fact that we went the entire offseason.
Cool. Yeah, get rid of him. Fine.
The fact that we went the entire offseason without getting him, and then we get into this whole week, and you got the not even the president, Cam Neely, calling him out in the press and the media and everything. Yeah. It's brings it to a whole other level. Granted, while we're recording now, he signed it already, so. Yeah. But yeah, I was not expecting Swayman to be there for game one. I don't even know if he'll still be at game one. I imagine he'll probably be suited up for game one now. But
yeah, we got a few practices in.
I thought he was gonna. I thought he was gonna hold out into the season, at least like the first week, and then sign. But I think Swayman's been one of, if not the best goalie in the league over the last 3 years. The problem is he just hasn't played. He's split with Allmark all 3 of those years. So he hasn't played a full season. He is the favorite for the Vezina right now.
Yeah.
He's basically tied with Shesterkin. They're basically like 500 to 600 across the industry. And then you got everybody else like plus 800, plus 1,000. So, I mean, he's the betting favorite basically for good reason, I think. But I also don't know if Korpisalo plays good. I don't know if Swayman plays 60, 65 games. I think they'll keep it closer to that split. But again, that also relies completely on Korpisalo playing good.
Yeah. Well,
especially at this point, like he hasn't played all offseason, so you're not going to play him every game. You're going to rest him.
Right.
I'm not sure he gets that.
Can Swayman even do that? You know,
it's the thing. Like you're not at this point. Like you're paying a guy to try it, and that brings me back to my whole argument. Like I'm not paying. I don't know if I'm paying like across sports. I don't know if I'm paying a guy who doesn't show up to camp, who is under contract and doesn't show up to camp. I don't know if I'm giving you a new contract.
Yeah.
But especially if you're, I don't know, a younger guy who I don't know has completely proven it yet. Like you said, Swayman hasn't played a full year. Like he hasn't gotten a full workload to be the number one goaltender.
Yeah. Just trade him to Ottawa. We'll swap Allmark back.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Imagine. That would be some shit. God. All right.
I don't Bruin talk. I'm all four guys getting paid and stuff, but you got to be there with your guys. You got to be there.
That's the thing. Like I'm all for, and we'll get into this. I'm going to get into this more in our Calder discussion because you're a dickhead. But I'm all for guys. Like everybody hates on NBA players for the way situations are handled, but I'm all for players having more say in their futures. Like there's no reasons teams should have the say in a guy's future. You're getting drafted by franchises who like have proven they can't develop guys, who don't care about guys, and like you're expected to show them your loyalty and like.
Well, and you have those years of the RFA where you're stuck.
You're stuck. There's nothing you can do.
Yeah. Those are your biggest years. Those are what are going to make your whole career. That's what's going to help finish developing you into whatever kind of player you're going to be.
Literally.
Like,
they're literally the most important years of your life.
Yeah, and if you don't do anything there, like
and you're being forced to stay with
UFA, you're not getting paid. You're not getting.
You're being forced to stay with a team who may not think you are what you are or sees you different from what you see, and like it's just it's crazy. Even if you've proven that you're good. But next up, let's see, what do we got? So I guess we'll talk a little Devils. They bring in, I guess, start Jacob Markstrom. Jacob Markstrom to the Devils, I think is. I agree. I think we've talked about a little bit. The Devils are probably going to be the most improved team.
Yeah.
They are probably going. They are my Eastern Conference pick team to win. So yeah, I think they're going to be a lot better. I think Jack Hughes, if Jack Hughes can play a full season, he's got 100+ point potential. He's proven that. Yeah. But yeah, obviously the big if is if he plays 100-point games. But I bet on that in my fantasy season. I took Jack Hughes and Timo Meier, so I'm hoping for a lot of Hughes to Meier all year long. But yeah, they bring in Jacob Markstrom on the back end, which is what they've been lacking the last few years. Last year, their D was a little hurt. You get Dougie Hamilton back. He missed most of the year on IR last year after getting injured. And they also bring in Brett Pesce from Carolina and Brandon Dillon on D. I think they're gonna be pretty good.
Yeah, I love their team. I
don't want to say it.
Yeah,
I don't want to say it one bit. But as a Flyers fan, I wish they would fucking just fold as a franchise. But I think they're be pretty good this year. Unfortunately,
I love them with just the addition of Hughes being back. If he can stay healthy, it's like I think they're then competing for the division. I think they're close to Rangers. And then what did you do? You added Markstrom. So you added that top tier goalie.
They added the goalie.
He can steal you games when you guys don't have your best. He's not going to lose you games. That's the difference between the upper echelon of goalies and a mediocre goalie. Like,
I agree.
Steal you games and won't lose you games. There's games you'll lose where he's just not all the way there, but he ain't gonna lose it for you.
Yep, I agree. I agree, and I think Jack Hughes is one of the few guys outside of the top. There's the top three. There's Cooch, McKinnon, and McDavid. They're dominating the league, and then there's like that second tier of guys.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Jack Hughes is one of the few guys who hasn't hit that tier yet and has the potential to hit that tier.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I like Jack Hughes a lot, especially if he can, obviously, it all hinders on him playing a full season.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I like the doubles a lot. I like Markstrom, like Pesci. Some of the other minor signings, I'll just run through. We got Anthony Duclair to the Islanders. Don't really care about the Islanders. Tyler Toffoli signs with the San Jose Sharks. I do like we both, I think, like the Sharks a little bit. We like the kids a little bit to put up at least some points this year.
They were so bad. They
put up 47 points, historically bad. They can only go up. They actually have talent on the team this year, I think. Obviously.
I don't have them pushing for a playoff spot or anything, but I have them being, middle of the road there
20 points better. They scored 67 points. They're still the worst team in the league. And then you got Patty Kane re-signing in Detroit for a full season after a healthy offseason. I don't want to get too much into this because we're going to save it, I think, a little bit for our conversation in a little bit. So we're not going to talk about that one. Samsonov goes to the Knights. Don't really care. I think he's trash. You get Victor Arvidsson and Jeff Skinner going to Edmonton, which I absolutely love. I think Victor Arvidsson and Jeff Skinner are two of the best 5-on-5 forwards in the league. Putting them on the Oilers, who are a team that struggles with 5v5. I think Edmonton as a whole is a better team. There wasn't a better team in the NHL last year after Knoblauch took over. Mm-hmm. And obviously they rode that all the way to the Cup final. I don't think there's a hungrier player in the league than McDavid. And I have a lot of hope and faith in the Oilers this year. They are my pick, just a spoiler alert, to win the Cup this year.
Yeah.
Thoughts on the Oilers offseason?
I like Jeff Skinner. I mean, down year last year. I don't know, man. Like the Sabres, they just didn't have it. Like everything they have, it just tells you like, oh, this team's gonna be there. This team's gonna be there. And then lo and behold, struggle all year. Jeff Skinner struggles. Like
everybody.
It's
sorry from the top with Tage. I mean, we're getting that more about it. Tage struggled.
He gets freed up. He's not the guy. Yeah. He gets freed up going to Edmonton, so I could see him. I could see him being pretty close to that 80 mark like he was a couple years ago.
Yeah. I think Edmonton's likely this year to roll McDavid and Draisaitl on opposite lines this year, more of the season rather than together.
Yeah,
putting Arvidsson and Kane and Skinner all on their wings, and I think that's going to be. I don't know if there's a better top six. You talked about Dallas being a complete depth team, but I don't know if there's a better top six than Edmonton's top six. Just because, I mean, obviously, a lot has to do with McDavid and Draisaitl, but
to me,
you put actual quality NHL players on their wings who can score goals and I mean, there's a good chance McDavid's going to maybe hit 110 assists this year. You know what I mean?
Well, and to me, like, I saw a lot when Draisaitl just signed his. Yeah, I'll be out there soon. Yeah. Sorry, my kids. I saw a lot with, like, when Draisaitl signed the contract he just got. People were, I don't know if I have him at that top tier. It's like, to me, it goes McDavid, it goes Draisaitl, the best two in the world. That's what I think. That's what I think. And I think Draisaitl can be that. I think Draisaitl was hurt, last year. I think he's that guy. So you add a little bit more depth, like you have another goal scorer.
It's 100%. So I'm saying, like,
Jeff being able
to put him and Draisaitl on different lines and actually roll them opposite ways. Like, I
Yep.
100% agree. I do like, so I'm obviously, I get into a little bit more of like analytical stats and like expected goals for and Corsi and all that than you, but
yeah.
So I don't think Draisaitl is the second best player in the league, but I do think he's still a top 5 to 6 player in the league.
Yeah.
And I mean, having two guys of that caliber on the team is just absolutely insane. Speaking from a build a franchise GM, space.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm paying Draisaitl at this point. I don't think I'm giving him a $14 million a year contract at this point because McDavid's a free agent next year. And if you don't win a cup this year, you have to make changes. Like something has to be done. And now you're locked in to Draisaitl. Like nobody's trading for a $14 million contract. Like it's just not.
Right.
It's not going to happen.
I don't think those are the changes you're making, though.
I mean, if you have to make a change, like it's hard to pay two guys $14 million, especially in the NHL. This isn't the NBA, the NFL. Paying two guys $14 million is virtually impossible to build a cup contending team. You know what I mean? And if I have to pick one you're obviously picking McDavid. Yeah, exactly my point. Exactly my fucking point. Exactly my point. And we're going to get into them a lot, I'm sure. But, like, you know what I mean? Because Draisaitl just became the highest paid player in NHL history. Yeah. And McDavid is going to be the highest paid player in NHL history next year. So now you're talking about, probably $29 million out of an $80-something million cap. It's hard to build a team like that. And if you have to pick one of them, I'm clearly picking McDavid. And let's be real. You trade Draisaitl, you can get a fucking haul for Draisaitl. It can be the whole core of your team for the next 10 years if you actually got the right deal, Like, I'm not saying I would do it, but I'm saying it has to be in the conversation. I wouldn't have signed Draisaitl early. Because I don't think there's an upside to, like, you know what I mean? If Draisaitl has another 120 point season last year, like, he's still getting the same amount of money. Like,
they're still that top tier.
Yeah.
So they're still getting paid.
I don't think
so. Why not wait and see what you do? I can see that.
That's all I'm saying. And it's hard to build. Like I said, it's hard to build a team with fucking $29 million invested in two guys. But
hard to build a team when you don't want to pay for a goalie. That's the missing piece for me.
But that's the thing. They've been trying. Like they brought in guys over the years. They brought in Talbot one year. They brought in fucking who's the one goalie? Who's their one goalie in the last few years before Skinner? Yeah, I think he went back overseas. He was trash. Oh my god. But he was supposed to be like the nice guy. He never panned out. But yeah, like now Skinner. I mean, Skinner. I don't know what Skinner's deal is now, but he's got to be approaching at least a bridge level deal at this point. And I mean, you're gonna have to pay him. Skinner's not terrible. He's played pretty good last year. He's not a top goalie, but like he's earned a paycheck. Like, you're paying Darnell Nurse fucking $10 million to be fucking trash. You're gonna have Evan Bouchard, who, spoiler alert, is my Norris winner this year.
He's gonna make a lot of money too.
Yeah, you know what I mean. How are you gonna pay Bouchard and Skinner? And you're paying $40 million between McDavid, Draisaitl, and Nurse. Tough.
Yeah.
So I like Edmonton a lot this year, but I'm not entirely sure where we go from here. Personally, I would love. I mean, I would love to see McDavid should hit free agency.
You know how crazy that would be?
McDavid is so good. Like, he's getting the max value from any team he goes to.
Yeah.
So if you're
McDavid,
make it work.
Otherwise, like, all right, we got to make moves.
If you're McDavid, why not just not resign, hit free agency, and then just be like, look around.
Yeah.
No matter what team you go to, you're getting the max value, and every team is going to make that work. So why not? Why not just do that?
All right, I'd talk to everybody. All right, who can you keep if I come here?
Exactly.
Who can you keep?
Let's talk about what we're doing here.
Yeah.
Bring
we have to get rid of
McDavid.
this and this and this.
You're basically
room.
bringing McDavid in as like an assistant GM, which is fine to me.
Yeah. Yep.
I think McDavid's earned that at this point.
Yeah.
Because he is on another
just
level.
Watching him skate across the neutral zone and then just take one cut and he splits the D and is gone. It's like, what?
He is an entire different level of player, and I have thoughts on that in a bit. We'll talk about. All right. Offseason, we're getting a little over time here in our offseason talk, but let's go to the Leafs a little bit. Leafs didn't do a lot. They were one of the teams I was going to say needed to do more because I really thought they needed to break that core up. I don't know what we're doing at this point. Like, I get it, I guess. Like, you're good guys, you don't trade guys, but like, what is this? Fucking four first round exits in a row, like 5, whatever.
Isn't this Johnny T's last year?
Yes. And they changed the leadership. They made Austin Matthews the captain this year. They bring in Anthony Stolarz in goal. They do have Joseph Wall, who was one of my sleeper picks for the Vezina this year, but I did not pick him. They bring in Oliver Ekman-Larsson and Chris Tanev on D. But other than that,
I
didn't do much.
Ekman-Larsson.
I think he's all right. Yeah, I do like him. I like him. I don't know. I think I like him more as a fantasy player than I don't even know if I should say that because I think I might actually like him more as a real life player. But
yeah,
I don't know. He's a weird guy because like he was a guy I liked a lot, and then like just maybe he just wasn't exactly what I thought he was going to be in Florida. But he's still good.
Yeah.
Like he was still good. They won the Cup last year. He put up 31 points last year.
I mean, I watched him in Arizona back in 2016.
Yeah, I was saying that's where I know him from. And then he went to Vancouver. I had him had him when he was in Vancouver on fantasy, and I liked him a lot. And now I don't know. I honestly think my opinion's a little biased, and like Toronto's just one of those teams that like have to prove it to me first. Like I can't give you any credit. Like
I get that.
You have to prove to me you can get over that hump.
I think for the kind of player he is, they got a good deal with him. He's a very solid defensive defenseman with, he's got some high offensive upside.
He used to be a really good offensive guy.
Right. And he settled down a little more defensively with kind of what the Leafs need. But at the same point, if they need him, to move the puck, he can do that.
Yeah. They also brought in Chris Tanev, who's a very defensive defenseman. So there's that.
Yeah.
Like I said, Toronto's just one of those teams that like needs to prove it to me first.
Yeah. I think,
and I don't think there's not a lot of teams in the NHL who get over the hump on the first time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When they get past that first round, they make it the West Finals or East Finals and they lose. You know what I mean? And then the next year they bounce back and finally, get into the finals.
I like the Leafs. I love watching them.
Yeah. Like I said earlier, I'm pretty sure you're a secret Leafs fan. I think you are though. I don't think I know anybody else that talks about the Leafs more than you.
I'm a big.
You're the biggest William Nylander fan in the world.
I'm a very big Nylander fan.
Yeah, you're a Leafs fan.
I love Willie Z. He just makes things look easy, kind of like nonchalant a lot of times, and he's just doing things. It's like crazy to me. Me. I'm a very eye test person. I watch a lot of hockey, so I have that luxury of watching all these games.
I don't think I know. I definitely don't know anybody, but I don't know if there's another person like in the world I can even think about that watches more hockey than you who doesn't get paid for it.
I just like it. Just like it. Yeah, no big deal. Couple games tonight, no big deal. Yeah. I mean,
it'll be a fucking Wednesday night and like the Coyotes are playing the fucking Sharks and you'll be watching the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
no Coyotes now though, but
yeah.
have to watch Utah. But
the Utah Hockey Club.
Yeah.
What do you think they're gonna name their name?
I like the Yeti.
I do like
the Yeti.
so that's I think that's what kind of the biggest I think that's what we're waiting for here. Because I think everybody loves the Yeti. I'm pretty sure the Yeti would have won that whole competition outright.
Yeah.
But the problem is there's a Yeti cooler. They don't have the trademark for Yeti, which is what I think they're waiting for. Because they can't own the Yeti because it's already companies. There's like 4 companies that are the Yeti.
Right.
But what they could do is approach a company like Yeti Cooler and make a deal with them and sell their Yeti coolers as the fucking Yeti Hockey Club. You know what I mean?
I did see the one.
They should be the Yeti. That's the coolest name by far. The coolest name they could pick is the Yeti.
I don't know. I saw the one.
I'm pretty sure the whole holdup has been a trademark issue. So
yeah, I saw the Salt Lake Soakers. I like that one.
Yeah, that's
because of the Mormon thing. It would never happen.
I get it. I'm a fan.
I saw people posting it. I am a
fan.
Like, oh my god!
But that's more of a fantasy league name than a real life
name. Yep. It's just like when Seattle. It was like Seattle's name that they had out there. Like that was the Rain City Bitch Pigeons.
Yeah. All right. Getting in the sea. What do we got? We're going to get back into a few steps of the offseason. Got a couple of big ones. Lane, this is one you like. Lane goes to the Habs. I did like it because Lane, I'm going to be honest, Lane is a guy I like a lot. I thought the Flyers could have done a lot, and they traded like a 3rd-round pick for him or some shit. I was like, why did we not go do that?
Yeah.
But I get it. Lane's got his issues. People, and especially with Torch, our coach, Lane on the team probably would not have worked out. That I don't think he would have. I don't think Torch was on the team when Lane first got there at that point. But I don't imagine that would have worked out too well. So I don't hate it. But I do like. Yeah, he went to the Habs. I do like the Habs as kind of a sleeper group, if you want to say.
Yeah,
but I know you like this one a little bit, so.
I like him there. I mean, you pay for goals. They're paid next to nothing for him. You can, it's kind of like a let's see what you got,
Yep.
He's
still only he's like 25. It's crazy.
Yeah. The one thing that scared me was, did you see the injury? Did you see the knee?
I did not see the injury.
His leg, it looked bad the way it bad. And then they said he's out,
Now he's in the player assistance program.
I think it's a couple months, they said.
Yeah.
Look.
Yeah, he's going to be out for a while, yeah.
They said hyperextended or something, but it looked really bad.
Yeah, I didn't see it. But yeah, doesn't make me love it anymore now because now he's hurt and he's got to deal with that. By the time he comes back, I'm not sure. I don't love the Habs as a team this year, but I did think they had some potential to score some goals with, him and I think so. Safalarski, whatever the fuck his name is quieter sleeper player. Score some goals
I like
this
Caulfield.
Year. Yeah, Caulfield's obviously.
Yeah,
Caulfield, Suzuki's good, so I think he scored some goals this year, but don't have much else other than that now with Lane out. So
yeah.
The next big one, probably one of the last big ones of the offseason we get, were the LA Kings trading Pierre-Luc Dubois 1 year after not only trading a haul for him, signing him to an 8-year, $8 and some change $1 million contract, and lasted 1 year. He did not pan out. He did not mesh with that system at all. And there was actually 2 coaches last year. He didn't mesh with either one of them.
Yeah.
So they decided to cut ties and ended up somehow trading his entire contract for Darcy Kumper in a straight swap.
Yeah, he's a player that doesn't make a lot of sense to me because like
He's
his
now on what,
style and everything like that, it seems like it could translate anywhere, and he just doesn't.
he seems like he's like a good hockey player, but like he just doesn't. I don't know if it's just like his work ethic or if it's just
which you saw before.
But no, this is not what his fourth team in 6 years.
Yeah,
he's on. He played 2 years. Did he play 2 years in Winnipeg? This would be his fourth team in 6 years.
Something's up there for sure.
Four teams in 6 years. He's like what 24.
And like you said, a good hockey player. Like watch him a couple years ago. Like great hockey player. The way he played it literally looked like he could do whatever he wanted. And I don't know. That many people,
and then he couldn't even make it work as like a third line center on the Kings. So
yeah.
But getting into where he went is Washington, who I also kind of like. I don't see a lot of their moves on this list, but I'm pretty sure they had brought in him. They brought in Jacob Chikrin for like Nick Jensen, which I thought was an absolutely wild trade.
Yeah. Logan Thompson.
They brought in Logan Thompson to split with Charlie Lindgren, so they should have a pretty good.
I got Logan taking that spot. I got him in fantasy too.
I had Charlie Lindgren last year, who won the spot from Comfort, so I got a little bit of faith invested into Charlie Lindgren there. But I don't hate Thompson. I think they're probably likely to split most of the year.
Well, and Thompson's more like a prove it. Is it just going to be you were good with Vegas because of the way Vegas plays, or are you a good goalie?
Yeah. They bring in Chikrin, they bring in Pierre-Luc Dubois. I mean, they still got Ovi, which we'll get into in a bit. But I think Washington is definitely better, and they were in the playoffs last year.
Somehow,
it doesn't
should have never been there.
It doesn't make the case for the Flyers or the Red Wings any better to make the playoffs, because I do think Washington got better. But
shouldn't have been there.
Maybe if the Flyers didn't pull the goalie in regulation.
I get it
at the end of the year.
I get it. It's frustrating.
We had to win. We had to win in regulation.
Yeah, and you guys aren't paying attention to our game at the time that's going.
Going to overtime does not help us. We had to win the game in regulation to go to playoffs.
Yep.
Torch does not give a fuck what the Red Wings are doing.
and like I said, at that point, you guys know what you have to do, so you're doing it. You're not paying attention to our score. Correct. To know that you were out at that point. You're talking about a 5-minute difference between the end of our game and it being done, and you guys pulling the goalie in regulation and losing, kicking us out. End of the day, Wings should have been better. They dropped off at the end of the year, so
and if we really want to talk, at the end of the day, the Flyers shouldn't have went 2-14 in the last 16 games and fell out of the playoff spot, which they were in the entire goddamn year. Yeah. But Mavi Michkov is here, which we'll get to. What else we got? We got Riley Smith to the Rangers. All right. Sergachev to Utah. Could be a pretty good pickup for them.
Yeah.
First major move for them. Sergachev has potential to be a pretty good 1D. Yeah, I've never had a chance with the Lightning, but could pop off there for them.
Yep.
Holtz goes to the Knights, which I don't really care about. Jacob Wallman.
Good.
Nobody cares.
It was Alex Holtz.
Alex Holtz went to the Knights in exchange for him, and Akira Schmid went for Paul Coder.
Yeah. Honestly, just good to get him out of New Jersey because they never seemed to mesh well.
Holtz wasn't going to be a thing there, and just
I don't know why it never.
You get Paul Cutter, who scored some goals last year with Vegas. So I mean, sometimes you just needed to make a change.
Yeah.
Other than that, let me run through all these. Let's see. We're going to attack most of the major. Tanner Jeanette goes to the Kings. John Moreno goes to Utah. Kevin Hayes goes to the Penguins in exchange for future considerations. Imagine just being a player that doesn't want you. The team just doesn't want you so much. They just trade you for future considerations.
Oh, and it's a cap thing too. Come on now. It's just like
The
Detroit trading
Blues traded him
Wallman.
away. There was no cap considerations.
No, it's
The Blues are
cap.
not under cap constraints. The Flyers are still paying $4.5 million of those dollars. It is not a cap situation. We're playing half of that half of his original contract. Okay, this is not a cap consideration for Blues. So, and that's the thing too. The Penguins needed to get younger and faster, and they added Kevin Hayes, which is neither of those things. So I'll leave that there.
Yeah.
Chris Tanev.
For bringing back Crosby, the Penguins didn't do a lot.
That's the thing. I think at this
point,
you
think they would let him either move on and just completely rebuild,
they
keep him there and not really do a ton.
They need to move on. Like one of Crosby, they have to let go of one of Crosby and Malkin at this point. If you want us, like, I understand it. They're two of the best. They're franchise stars. They're two of your best players ever. They won you 3 cups, but like, if you want to stay competitive, you got to be real, and somebody's got to move. You got to get younger. You got to get faster, especially in today's game. They're not built for today's game.
You want the last hurrah with them, then
you got to build around them. Yeah. Not bringing Kevin Hayes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like last year, they brought in Jeff Carter, who was in the last year of his career. This year, they're bringing Kevin Hayes. Like, you got to do more than that if you want to keep that core together. Like, if you want to give that core a last hurrah, you got to do a little bit more than that.
Yeah.
And then, okay, I guess the last major trade here for the offseason would be Yaroslav Askarov going to the Sharks, which I think is part of the reason why we both like the Sharks, and with on top of Celebrini and Will Smith and everything else they've done this
huge
offseason.
Jump in points.
They can make a huge jump and still be the worst team in the NHL.
Yes. Yep. Askarov should help. Celebrini should help. They should be. We're not saying they're going to be good. I'm not saying they're going to be good at all.
Yeah.
But they're going to be better than last year.
They're better than last year. They can't be anywhere. They literally can't be worse.
Could you imagine all that?
They traded Askarov for David Enstrom, a Magnus Chirona, and a 2025 first-round pick. And I'm going to get into this in our Flyers talk, but it was a move I thought the Flyers should have fucking jumped on, because I'm not sold on our goaltending. But we'll come back to that.
Yeah.
I think that is most of the off season. Do you have any other moves I forgot? Anything else you written down over there? No, I did not mention that. All right, Tarasenko.
I like him.
Obviously, you like him because of obvious reasons. My opinion is that Tarasenko isn't quite a top line forward anymore. I do think he's still a quality depth forward for a good team. Not sure what he's going to provide for you, because I don't necessarily think you guys are a good team. You do have a solid top 6 that I don't hate. Yeah. I don't think you guys have a lot of depth. Don't like your D. I don't like your goaltending.
I think we have too much depth. Not enough high end, too much depth. That's all we are.
Not enough high. Okay. I don't think you guys have enough high end depth.
No. I agree.
Okay. So, any other offseason notes you want to talk about? I got to touch on most of the major ones.
That's pretty much everything. Everything I had down.
I'll just say that, though. Jacob Chitrin getting traded by the Senators. So they had the potential of having, they did have. They had Thomas Chabot. They have Jake Sanderson and Jake Chitrin. And I get it. Like, you don't want to pay 3 guys to be on 3 different lines in your D. They want to bring it Allmark, but they could have afforded it. They traded Jacob Chitrin for Nick Jensen and a 2026 third-round pick. After trading, they traded a first-round pick and plus for him in the year before. I think that's got to be one of the worst trades that went down this offseason.
I like Jensen. He's solid, but he's...
Because he was a Red Wing.
Yes, but he is a solid kind of offensive third pairing.
But he's not a Jacob Chitrin.
No.
They basically trade him straight up for a third-round pick.
Yeah.
After trading...
Which third-round pick in the NHL is not much,
After trading, Chitrin was created by the Senators for a first round pick in 2023 and two second rounders in 24 and 26. So they traded a first and 2 seconds to get Chychrun and traded him for Nick Jensen and a third round pick. One of the worst swaps, I think, that have happened recently that I can think of. I think that's our off-season notes. So now we're going to get into what will be the biggest part of our podcast, most likely. When Matvei Michkov scores 130 points this year and leads the Flyers to a Stanley Cup.
130. I see you've got yourself some realistic expectations to not let you down this year.
Yes, exactly my point.
Yeah.
So when he only scores 90 this year, I can call him a bust. No, listen. I am not the typical Flyers fan who thinks Matvei Michkov is actually going to score 100 points this year. Although I think Matvei Michkov is probably going to be a very good player in this league. I do have high expectations for him. He put up 6-7 points in 3 preseason games. Obviously, those wasn't against top teams, A teams, but it is still playing NHL level talent. He's an 18-year-old, 19-year-old, whatever he is, playing, and he looked the part. He is out. And the thing with him too is he seems like he actually has a real work ethic. Torts has actually praised him. I think we've talked about this before with Torts. When Torts was a commentator during Zegras' rookie year, and Zegras did the Michigan, and Torts went on national television on ESPN and said that's bad for the game.
I was watching that night.
Okay, and Michkov did this shit 8 times in the KHL. He did it in rookie camp, but I will say this: Torts has walked back those comments. Hey, I know I said some shit in the past, but and all he's done in the last 4 or 5 weeks is praise Michkov for the work ethic, the talent. I don't think I've ever seen Torts praise a young player, the way he's praised Michkov over these past few weeks.
Yeah,
and I didn't like Torts when I didn't like Torts when we signed him, but Torts is growing on me. Torts is a guy who just all he wants you to do is work your ass off, and you don't do that, you're going to sit the bench. Right. I get it, because I was the kind of that type of player, so I understand it. And yeah, I know.
I'm surprised too, because of the way Torts is, and just to, like you're saying, praise a young player. Well, praise a young player that hasn't even played a year with you yet. So, you haven't even gotten to beat him down for a year yet to show him this is what I want you to do.
Is practice with him,
yeah.
So, I do think at some point, it's only a matter of time before he healthy scratches Michkov. It's gonna happen. This is a John Tortorella team. Michkov is going to get healthy scratched at some point.
It's not a bad thing as a rookie, though. It's not.
Yes, I don't.
You get to watch the game. You get to do all the same stuff. Learn.
100%. Listen, if we have a game where it looks like Michkov has fucking 6 turnovers, he's not back checking, he's throwing a fit, and Torres decides to sit him, I get it. I fucking get it. But at the same point, at this point, already, we haven't even started the season. But Michkov looks like the best player on our fucking team. You know what I mean? There is a reason why he is the betting favorite. Vegas, it's not just Flyers fans that have high hopes on him. Vegas has him as he was the betting favorite all year. He was kind of tied with Celebrini now across the industry, but he was the betting favorite the entire offseason, which is insane, especially for a Flyer. He's already basically going. My light just fell. He's basically going to be he's already the best Flyers rookie prospect ever. The Flyers have never had a Calder winner. He's the favorite.
Crazy. That's crazy.
The Flyers have never had a Calder winner, and he is now the favorite. Let me fix my fucking line.
That is absolutely crazy.
Never had a Calder winner, and now he's the favorite. So, how can we not have anything but high expectations for the kid? And then, like I said, I have 2 bets that I put in because I was thinking about our podcast. I was like, I'm gonna look at. I looked at Red Wings props. I was like, wow, I really like that one. I bet it. We'll talk about it in a little bit. But Mavi Michkov is now. When I was looking at a couple months, he opened at 47.5 points to be the Calder favorite and have a player prop at 47.5 seems insanely low to me. Connor Bedard scored 61 points in 68 games last year.
Mm-hmm.
That seems insanely low to me. So I have that. I also bet Mavi Michkov at plus 400 to win the Calder, and I have him at plus 50 points at plus 105. So I have a lot of him right around, not even, and I don't feel like those are pretty high expectations. I mean,
no.
maybe the Calder one is a high expectation for him, but scoring 50 points, I don't think is a high expectation for him. Seems like a pretty reasonable expectation for a guy who is likely to be maybe not this first year, but like through his career, a point per game player.
Yep.
So
and this is why I can't stand living in New York, because I would have bet Cider a couple of years ago too.
Being in New York sucks. I had to literally travel out of state to bet that. I had to literally bet it while I was out of state, just so I could bet.
And I talked about Cider all summer, and I wish I went and bet it, and lo and behold, he won it.
Just off topic on that too. I mean, you got fucking Cam Ward now, who's fucking killing it, and although I think Ashton Genty should be the Heisman winner at this point, but
right. But he's still up there. He's still up there. That's another.
Cam Ward is on the list. Cam Ward is on the list.
Yeah.
Other than that, So if Michkov only scores 60 points this year, the Flyers probably are going to be somewhere between the 7 and 10 seed in the East.
Yeah.
Right around where we were last year. I think it's probably going to be us. It's going to be us, the Capitals, you guys, maybe the Senators and the Sabres. Maybe the Penguins, too, in that conversation. Kind of all fighting for those last two spots.
Yeah.
The Flyers did not do anything, but it wasn't really expected. Like, Danny Briere took over a couple years ago, and he made it clear. He's rebuilding, which is the first time we've rebuilt in kind of a while. Hackstall tried it. Hackstall had, like, 5 first-round picks. None of them play in the NHL. They're all fucking trash. He was not a good drafter. One of his picks was Noni Patrick, which we're going to have to, one of these weeks, we're going to have to dedicate a Flyers topic to just everything that has gone wrong with the Flyers over the last 15 years. And one of those things is him drafting Noni Patrick. And I mean, we went from 13-2 to get Noni Patrick and in the fucking lottery. The rest of the top 5, so you had Nico Hischier that goes 1. We get Noni at 2, and then you get Makar, Heiskanen, and Elias Pettersson that go the next 3 picks. Like, name the one guy that's not in the NHL, let alone an all-star player,
a superstar. Yeah.
But and that's not even the worst of his pick. That's one of probably the better picks. Is one of the only ones actually fucking played. German Rupstad never even played in the NHL. So, but Danny Briere takes over. He's like, we're gonna rebuild, and this is what he's doing. I like where we're at. We weren't expecting. So we drafted Michkov. Michkov fell to us last year at 7 because he still had 3 years left on his KHL contract. People were afraid of it, which whatever. We were like, the Flyers were like, hey, we love you. You think we're going to be a great player. We have 3 years to wait. He ends up getting out of that contract after year 1, comes over this year. Between next year and the end of the next offseason, we have like $20 million coming off the books between like Kevin Hayes, like Tony DeAngelo, fucking literally just guy. So we are still paying Briz. That ends in 27, but Briz doesn't count against the cap because it was one of those weird. It was like one of the buyouts that didn't count. Where did I wrote this down somewhere. We have Ristolainen, who is not that great of he's been better in Philadelphia, but he's making $6 million. We have Hayes making $4.5 million. We have Cal Peterson. We have Cal Peterson in the AHL right now making $5 million because we ate his contract to get a first-round pick for Sean Walker. We have Cam Atkinson we're paying for another year. We have Tony DeAngelo, and then we have the whole Ryan Johansson situation, have you followed that at all?
No.
Okay. So Ryan Johansson, we traded Ryan Johansson's making like $5 million. We traded him. He was a part of they sent him back from Colorado last year in the Sean Walker deal because we got a first-round pick out of it for Sean Walker, and we ate Ryan Johansson's contract. So we traded for him on I don't know the exact dates. I'm just gonna make up a date here. March 7th. Okay, March 6th he played in the Colorado Avalanche game. Or I think it would have been the 5th. He played in the Colorado Avalanche game. March 6th he practiced with them that morning and then got traded to us. And then the Flyers traded for him just as a cap dump off. They were going to cut him. They were just going to buy him out and cut him. Yeah. He showed up and was like, "No, I'm hurt. I can't play. You can't cut me. You can't send me down because I'm hurt." Never played the rest of the year with us. So the Flyers basically over a couple weeks ago, basically sued him. They cut him for breaking his contract.
Yeah.
And now the PA sued the Flyers, and now it's a legal battle between the NHL, the Flyers versus the PA for this contract breach because he basically didn't. But it's hard to argue that a guy isn't hurt in the NHL. You know what I mean?
Right.
But he played in the Avalanche game the night before we traded him. He practiced with the Avalanche the morning that we traded for him. And then we sent him down that day, and he was like, "No, I'm hurt. I can't do it." So we cut him. So that's another $5 million. There's $23 million in cap space that the Flyers have that are just players that aren't actually even on the team.
Yeah.
And that opens up over the next 2 off seasons. And this is when we need to go make a move. We have Michkov. It would have been fucking unbelievable if we had Michkov and Cutter Gaudreaus debuting the rookie years together. We're gonna get into that because we're gonna have a lot to discuss about that one. And then go into the next offseason with some money to bring in some guys. We need a center, we need a defenseman, and we need a goalie.
Yeah.
I thought Ashcroft could have been that guy because our goaltending, I'm not sold on Sammy Ersson. I think that's probably going to be if the Flyers are one of the worst teams in the league this year, it's because Sammy Ersson was who he was in the second half of the year. Sammy Ersson was great. He had a 9-10 save percentage while he was splitting time with Carter Hart. Carter Hart situation happened, and then Sammy Ersson ended up playing 21 games in a row at one point, and he ended up finishing below a 900 save percentage. He got worked out. He just got overworked as a fucking 22-year-old. And so I'm not entirely sure goaltending could be our Achilles heel this year. If Ersson can be the guy he was in the first half of the year, I think we'll be right around where we were last year. Yeah. And if he's not, if he is who he was in the second half of the year, being overworked, and because we also only have Ivan Fedotov. And
whatever happened with the whole Carter Hart situation?
He raped somebody.
Okay, so they just released him because I never saw that they released him. I didn't see
that. They were all RFAs.
Oh, he's all
four of them were RFAs, and they all got released. They're all free agents.
Yeah. Okay.
I think their trial is not till 2025, so none of them will be in the NHL for at least 2 years.
Yeah. And then at that point,
and who knows?
Yeah.
I know. I'm pretty sure I saw he was he tried to sign with one of the European teams. I don't know if it was the Swedish league, I think.
Yeah.
But Canada denied his release because he's just a fugitive, basically.
Yeah.
So
worried about him coming back.
I don't know what happened. Yeah, I don't know what happened in the end of that, but that was the last thing I seen.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not gonna speak a lot of thoughts on that, but if Carter Hart did it, he doesn't deserve to be in the NHL, and that's all I'll say.
I agree.
All 5 of them. 4 of them.
Yeah.
4 of them that were in the NHL.
Yeah.
Absolutely crazy. Because I did not. I'm like I said, I'm not. I'm just gonna ignore this. Yeah. Anyways, our defense. I do think our defense is solid. We have Sanheim, who is still, I think, arguable. I think if Jamie Drysdale takes a step forward this year, which again is going to be a conversation of our future topics here. Rasmus Ristolainen is being way overpaid, but has turned into a quality defenseman in Philadelphia. I think we're solid. We have a solid D. We're solid at forward. We have a guy who can be potentially a generational talent, but our goaltending is I'm not sold. I don't know. And I think that's probably our biggest question mark. So
let's trade the wings. We got goalies.
Goalies that nobody wants. I
We'll be
making
a deal for a goalie here soon.
I have
someone that's going to take one of the ones we got.
I have like two things written down about the Red Wings. One of them is your goalie situation, and the other one is something else. But yeah, I don't think the Flyers got worse. I think we got better. I think we're the same exact team with our best player now. But I don't think our best player is going to be like. I don't think Matvei Michkov is going to score 78 points this year.
Right, and I don't think you got worse either. But I think last year was a little high. You fell off at the end of the year.
Is it though?
I still think you guys are going to regress a little bit.
What I will say to that point is that all Torts does is get teams in playoffs. Torts doesn't coach bottom level teams. You know what I mean? He gets the most out of terrible teams, and that's I think why what we were last year. And I think I think we're still right in the same boat. I don't think we're better. I don't think we're worse. I think we're right in that boat. I think we're right in the boat with you guys, with the Capitals, with the Penguins. I think it's gonna be all of us and the Senators and the Sabres fighting for the 2 wild cards in the East. I think we're in the conversation. I don't think we're worse. And I also don't think Torts I don't think Torts is just based on the two big. I follow Charlie O'Connor and Frank Cervelli, who are they're two national broadcast guys, and they're both Flyers guys.
Yep.
And I think from following them, I think everybody in the organization feels that Torts isn't the coach of the future. Like Torts is the guy to set the culture for this Michkov-led group.
Yeah.
And in another year, either at the end of this year, depending on how this year goes, either at the end of this year or the end of next year, Torts moves into the leadership group of our franchise. And we bring in a coach. And you want me to make it? I'll put a little flyer out there. You want to get crazy? I think at the end of this year, you ready for this one? At the end of this year, because this is going to be a kind of wild thing for a Flyers thing. At the end of this year, we're pretty good. I think the Flyers sneak in as in the 8th seed. We lose in the first round. Okay. Torts. Maybe we don't use. Maybe we're the 9th seed and we miss the playoffs. Yeah. Torts moves into an executive role in the franchise. Meanwhile, the Pittsburgh Penguins miss playoffs. Mike Sullivan gets fired. Mike Sullivan's the coach of the Flyers next year.
Oh.
I think it is. You know who's the coach? You know who was the old coach of the USA? Torts. You know who his assistant was? Mike Sullivan. You know who's the coach of the USA now? Mike Sullivan. You know who his assistant is? John Torts. You know we're best friends? John Torts and Mike Sullivan. We're gonna need a guy. We need a guy to have some experience leading some guys in playoffs. And I mean, as a Flyers fan, I don't fucking like Mike Sullivan as being a Penguins guy, but I try not to be biased, and I try to just accept your resume. And Mike Sullivan might not be too bad of a choice. Put some offense into our game. I don't hate it. I'll make that bet right now. Mike Sullivan is the coach. The Philadelphia Flyers next year.
25-26. Sounds weird.
Sounds incredibly weird. I hate it. I hate saying it. Almost as much as I hate saying I like the Devils this year.
Yeah. That was hard. To come off.
But yeah, I think those are most of my Flyers. You got any thoughts you want to say about the Flyers?
The big thing is, goaltending. I think you guys
not good.
A big question mark.
So I really wanted Askarov. I thought we should have went out and got him. I didn't see any reason why we shouldn't have at least tried for the price that they paid.
Yeah, and I think it's...
we have 3 first-round picks this year. I don't see any reason why we shouldn't have traded one of those picks for Askarov.
Mm-hmm.
But Danny Briere is set on not over jumping the window.
You're talking not over jumping, but Askarov's still young.
That's the thing. And that's the thing. You get him his rookie. You get him in his rookie year now. Let him develop a year, and then you don't got to worry about that having to develop a guy when you're ready to compete and actually sign guys.
Yeah, he's 20.
But that's the same. That's the same thing with like with Ersan. Danny Briere is very high on Sammy Ersan.
Yeah.
So he's also like Sammy Ersan's only 22, 23. And so they want to give Ersan a chance to prove it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I understand it. Because he did played amazing as when he was his first 20 games last year, when he was the backup to Carter Hart, he played amazing. And then he played 21 games in a row after the Carter Hart situation, and then he died out. And he died out for a team that was dying out.
Yeah. Yeah, so. You guys as a whole, I think it just overproduced a little bit. I think you take a step back. I think but it's all in like, setting the culture with Torts. He kind of wears out his welcome. So to what extent does he wear out that welcome? Does he do it this year, or has he changed a little bit where he's got the culture going but not being too hard on guys, and to where he's thinking big picture, I'm moving on, somewhere in the front office after that,
Yeah.
Because that changes a lot.
Yeah. I think it's gonna be a bit of both, because I do think at one point he could have so my biggest thing is going back to last season, sitting Coots. Sitting coach was a big fucking thing. You just made him a captain the month before, and then you're gonna healthy scratch him. Now coach is coming back. He's looked good in preseason. He looks be back to just healthy. And that could have been, like I said at the time, that sitting coach could have easily been a folding point for Torts. Could have been the end of Torts. You know what I mean? He could have lost the entire locker room sitting your captain. It's an absolutely crazy concept. But he didn't, and a lot of the guys like Torts, the leadership, Coates. Okay, Coates will still talk good about Torts. Lawton, connecting, these guys are they're hardworking guys who love Torts as a coach. There's just those type of players. So I don't think he's going to lose the locker room in that respect, but I also do think that he understands he's not. I do think him, along with Danny Briere and Keith Jones, understand that he's not really the coach that's going to get us
they've already had
the next offensive level. Yeah. I do think they've talked about it. Torts is here to set the culture, but he's not going to be the guy that leads us to the next place. Which is why I'm saying I would bet on Mike Sullivan, and that's just a complete flyer because it could be anybody. But I think there's some ties. There's a lot of ties in that situation, and I think it could be something I don't honestly hate. But yeah, so I think I've talked enough about the Flyers. You talked your opinions. I don't know if you have any more. Goaltending sucks. These are right. Matvei Michkov wins MVP. Red Wings. I'll let you take the wheel here.
I think the Wings are going to be, same kind of place as they were last year. Made a lot of lateral moves.
I agree. I'm glad you say that. I was afraid you were going to be like, nah, we're going to be third in the Atlantic this
year. No, I try to be as realistic. Obviously I want playoffs. I want meaningful games at the end of the year. We had those. It was awesome. No playoffs, but still very up until the end of the year, meaningful games. I want more of that. I think we can be there. I think we can push to get in to playoffs. I think we can be that the 8th team. But it all comes down to, does Raymond continue how he finished the second half of the year? Does Simon Edvinsson come in and play a big role on D to where it frees up Mo Seider a little bit? Because Seider is playing insane minutes, insane usage. We rely on him for everything because our D is bad. Really bad.
Seider, I think, and we'll get into this more a little bit because obviously I like Seider, but I don't think he's in the Norris conversation anymore. But I do think Seider is basically I think Seider's a Doughty level player, a guy who should be in the Norris conversation every year, but because he just doesn't. And not in today's game, you got to score 90 points in order to win the Norris. And Seider's just unfortunately not that guy.
To me,
but I do think he is going to. I think from a hockey standpoint, he is probably arguably already one of the top 5-10 defensemen in the league.
Yeah, he does everything. He's physical, great D, can do offensively, runs our power play, first in the PK. Like, he does everything for us. I don't think he'll ever get to 90 points, but I think he could get to 60 if Edvinsson plays what I think he can and plays as like that, number 2. I think that helps Seider actually open up a little bit, free up, because he hasn't had that. It's been all on him ever since he's been there, and it's been tough.
I think Seider's like a Doughty level. I think Doughty's a pretty good comparative to like where he could be.
Yeah,
because like he's gonna be a guy who can lead a team to a championship and be a great defenseman and a Norris contender, but like we'll never. Doughty did win it back in the day because it was a different game, but like nowadays, he's just it's all about scoring points.
Yeah, the Norris. It's crazy that it's come to a points thing. It's a point award now for defensemen. Like,
I mean, yes and no. It is.
I think you're looking at best overall defenseman. It's not the 90-point guy.
Well, I mean, Quinn Hughes also led the league in plus minus last year, despite he put up obviously 92 points, but like still led the league in plus minus. I don't know what Seider was. Look it up. Let me see where that is.
You're big into the analytics. You should look up like Seider's usage.
Oh, so yeah, like that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm on the boat with you. That's why I'm on the boat with you. Like I see Seider's a great defenseman.
So those numbers.
And I don't want to give you any credit at all. But like, yeah, and I understand. Like he defensively, like he is a game changing guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so are the other guys. And the difference being is 40 points.
Right. And Edvinsson could be that. Edvinsson doesn't have the offensive upside that Seider does. Steven.
Yeah, he was. See, this is the difference there. It also has a lot to do with the team.
Right.
But Moritz Seider finished last year 42 points -7 on the year. Quinn Hughes was plus 38. Bouchard was plus 34. Makar was plus 21. And then Yossi and Fox were both like plus 15, 14.
Yeah. A lot to do with the team.
I mean, it's 100% has a lot to do with the team.
Goalies have been a mess also.
Yep.
Every year I hope to see Kosa make a big push, but he's not going to.
Don't even know who that is.
Yeah, Sebastian Kosa.
Oh, Kosa.
Kosa. So he's one of our upcoming prospects. But I guess the plan seems to be this year is he's the guy in the AHL. They want to see how he does being the guy. So we signed 1 million NHL goalies. Don't know how that's all going to pan out between Husso, Lyon, Talbot, and Campbell.
I will say this.
Campbell.
If you play Jack Campbell one game, you don't deserve to win any games this year.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. They've all played pretty good in the preseason so far. I like Husso. I remember what Husso was back with the Blues.
That's the thing.
He hasn't been that since he's been with us. He's always hurt.
Yeah. Pause right there. 2 years with Detroit. Ville Husso. His first year, he had a .311 goals against, an .896 save percentage. Last year, he goes to .355 and an .892 save percentage.
Yeah.
He hasn't been over 900 in either year he's been with Detroit. Alex Lyon had a .305 with a .904 last year. Cam Talbot comes over with solid stats, 2.5, 913, but it's also playing for a very good defensive LA team, joining your team who is not that defensive of a team.
Right. And
you bring in Jack Campbell. I have zero to say about Jack Campbell.
Yes, Jack's an NHL goalie, but he doesn't, if once he gets out of the assistance program, if everything's good.
Jack Campbell turned 10 good games into a $6 million contract.
Right. But he's also, and he's supposed to be our guy in the AHL behind Kosa to sort of give Kosa his breaks, help him get through the year, and hopefully, because with all the guys, if they don't bring guys up, the Griffins should be pretty good this year. They sent a lot of people down. I don't know what the plan is as far as giving them opportunities. They sent people down that I didn't think they were going to. Marco Casper was a big one. Played phenomenally. I watched. I only got to see
read a
one.
little bit about him.
Yeah, I only got to see one preseason game, but he was all over the place.
Yeah.
I like him. The couple highlights I saw, his release is sick. I don't know. I mean, we also signed Justin Hall and then waived him yesterday.
Yeah. Stupid.
Yeah. Like, you sign him, it's just a little confusing. It's like we sign him thinking, all right, he's slotting in as like a 60 or something like that. I would like to see them, I'm getting sick of these guys got to beat down the door to make the squad. I would like to see them almost give like a Marco Casper a spot, or, guarantee some of these guys spots. Like, you're like bringing in old guys looking for people to beat down the door, and then you just ship them, if they do. And it's like, I don't know, why not just leave the spot open? Let them ride it out and see what it does.
Yep. All right. So my biggest question for the Red Wings. So I don't think you guys got any better. I think you guys, like I said, you guys are right around with us. I think we're all still in the conversation.
Yeah.
But if your goaltending does not, if Talbot comes out, because at this point I think Talbot's probably game one starter. I don't really know. I don't know.
Husso's looked really good. It's going to be...
Yeah, but I'm also basing a lot on his last 2 years as being a Red Wing, so I'm just taking him out of it.
Yeah.
Your goaltending comes out and puts up a 900 save percentage. Sammy Edvardson, is that his name? Simon Edvardson does not take a step forward and actually takes a step back. How good are the Red Wings?
I think they're still, solid. Sider does so much. I think we're still in the conversation at that. I think we're in playoffs if they do. Yeah. I think we're still right there in the conversation. The goalies have been tough, man. And it's, again, you got to get someone in here to help free up Sider a little bit.
So if he doesn't take that step, I'm not sure how much I
still think he's
Red
doing
Wings
it.
There.
Huh?
So I'm not sure how much I like the Red Wings there.
Yeah, I mean, we still got the same. Ben Sherratt there.
Don't love him.
Tough. That's tough.
Ben Sherratt,
Jeff Petrie.
Like, come on.
You know what I mean? It's tough.
If Simon Edvardson doesn't, if Simon Edvardson takes a step back this year, I don't know. If Simon Edvardson takes a step back and your goaltending isn't good, I don't know. I don't know. But the Flyers are in the same spot, so Jamie Drysdale doesn't step up and Sammy Ursan sucks. Like, neither one of us are going to be fucking close to playoffs.
Yeah, that's true.
But player prop, like I said, I got a player prop on the Red Wings. There's actually, I was
curious to see what this was because you were telling me about it.
You could have guessed it. Like I said, I drafted every player I picked in our game. It is Patty Kane.
Okay.
Patty Kane. So originally looking at it, I liked him over 24.5 goals this year.
Yeah.
He's something he hit in almost all but like 3 seasons in his career.
Yeah.
But what I did end up taking was Patty Kane 60 plus points at plus 125, which I think is fucking incredible value. Kane has, where am I? I don't know where any of this is. Kane has hit this in every year of his career except for one. The only year he didn't hit it was the year the year before last year when he split between Chicago and New York. He put up 57 points in 73 games. Every other year before that, he's put up 60 plus points in every game. Every year he's played 60 plus games. He put up 47 points in 47 points in 50 games last year with you guys.
He looked good too.
He looked great. He had a healthy offseason. If he plays 70, 80 games this year, I don't see why he does not hit 60 points this year for you guys. At plus 125, I think it's a fucking steal.
Yeah.
Like that one a lot. Drafted him in fantasy. Patty Kane and Matvei Michkov, baby. Show me the money.
Yeah. Yeah, with bringing Kane back, Tarasenko in, Raymond, Larkin, I like
Yeah,
our top
DeBrincat. You got a
six.
solid fucking.
DeBrincat, yeah.
Who's playing
And
center?
then,
Confer.
yeah.
Who's playing
Comfort,
second? And your second line, Confer.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then Casper, I'm looking Casper to take a spot. He looked great. Only issue there, a couple older guys. Maybe you want to slot him in on the wing. I'm not sure he slots in the top six. Probably on the third line. At that point, would you rather him just in the AHL or the NHL? I still think I'd rather see him in the NHL. You could get a lot of experience there, timing, space, and then if he's still not ready, you sign another 1-year deal with a guy and send him down next year or something to get the top line.
One thing I did not talk about for the Flyers is Jet Lachenko. We drafted Danny Briere maybe reached on him. He was not the consensus guy at 13th overall when we were on the board. Yep. But we took Jet Lachenko. He has looked great in preseason. He made the squad. We drafted him. He was 17 when we drafted him. He's now 18. Made the squad. He's going to get his 9-game tryout. I'm not entirely convinced he's going to get more than a 9-game tryout.
Well, it's all on how you guys do. Yeah.
But he has looked good. He has earned his spot. He has at least earned that tryout.
Yeah.
And a lot of people shit on Danny Briere for drafting Jet and 13th or whatever it was. And hey, in Danny we trust.
Yeah.
Got him on the wall. Oh, it's that wall. The wall. The wall on the other side of this wall.
Pretty crazy.
Next podcast.
Both our teams have the legends. Between the eyes.
That's all the Flyers. That's all the Flyers do.
Yeah.
The Flyers don't hire a GM that didn't. We had Ron Hextall before this, who was like arguably the best Flyer to ever be a Flyer. We had Paul Holmgren.
Good GM too, just a little too patient for the Flyers.
Ron Hextall was a horrible GM. That's going to be a topic because of how bad he was drafting. You don't understand how bad he was at drafting. He drafted 4 guys that never played in the NHL. We drafted German Rubistov 13th overall. He never played in the NHL. We drafted fucking who's the defenseman? Granted, he tore his ACL 3 years in a row, but
yeah, that's a Robbie Fabry stat if I ever heard that.
Wait. We're gonna, like I said, one of these weeks we're gonna do I'm not sure how to make it for both of us, but just the grossness it is to be a Flyers fan, and I'm only gonna go from 2010 on. I'll go from from when we lost in the Cup until now. I'll break down everything, and it's fucking insane. You have no idea
this whole way where
you have no idea. You were able, you were able to fucking at least enjoy playoffs as a Red Wings fan your entire existence.
Up until I married my wife. You're right.
Literally.
Haven't made it since.
Yeah. That's interesting. It's the one. You ever see the commercial?
The year I met her is the first year they missed.
You ever see the commercial? I think it's it's an abs commercial where the two people they're together and they see the abs lose and they split up and they win.
Yeah. Split up, they look at each other, give them the thumbs up, nod.
Yeah. They're both at the game with other people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I would leave my wife for a fucking championship for the Flyers.
For a Stanley Cup?
For the Stanley Cup, 100%. 100%. Sorry, future wife.
I was just too young. I didn't even enjoy it as much when you were young. I just thought that's the way life went. I thought you just Red Wings make playoffs, and
not how life goes.
World is good. We always make playoffs. That's how things go.
Do you want to know? This is actually a little trivia stat for you. When was the last time the Flyers won a playoff series minus the COVID bubble, first round bubble, half bubble? We were at it. We were at Game 3.
The Penguins?
2012.
Really?
It was the last.
This 2012?
Yep, minus the COVID bubble when we ended up being the 1 seed in the COVID bubble. That was the last playoffs they ever won. 2012, we were at it.
That game was wild too.
The wildest game. There's 12 goals, fucking 180 penalty minutes.
Yeah.
Couldn't have picked a better game together. That's
No.
all I do is go to good games. That the fucking Eagles Falcons game a couple weeks ago. It's wild. Yeah. Last time.
I didn't know.
Go Flyers.
I really didn't know that.
Yep.
So we're just winning. The Wings were winning too much.
Basically.
Well, we only had 2 more years after that, and then it's struggle bus from there.
All right. Well, I think we're done talking NHL, talking off-season, talking Flyers, talking Red Wings. We are going to get into our yearly game. We do need to. I don't know if I think we kind of mentioned this. We need to brainstorm a name for this channel. That's what we're just going to do. Not the channel, the show. Do FNF Hockey for now until we come up with something cooler and better. We're going to play a game. We're going to have to. I think we should. We talked about putting dinner on it or post-game meal on it. I think we got to brainstorm something a little better. We should put something meaningful on this. I don't know what that is yet at this point, but something more than a meal. Yeah. This is a season-long bet. It's our first time. We did have some similar picks. Well, we've changed them.
Yeah.
But I think we should. We got to brainstorm.
A lot of them is crazy how much we think of like.
It would have been wild if we actually didn't talk about this and talked about it live.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. So we're going to pick the Calder, the Norris, the Vezina, and the Hart trophy winners. We're going to do a whole point system out of those. If the guy you pick, it's going to be based on the actual point system in real life. If the guy you pick finishes first, you get 10 points. Second is 7. Third is 5, 3, and 1. So on. We are also going to be picking other things. Most improved player, most improved team, both by points. So if he is 20 points better, the team's 20 points better, you get 20 points. If they're negative 14 points better, you get negative 14 points.
Yeah, and there's a couple teams we both agreed on that we'll tell you guys. We just took them right out.
So there was a couple. We took McDavid out of the Hart. We took the Devils out of the most improved team. And we actually did both pick the same exact most improved team and the most improved player. And I did change it a little bit. We'll talk about that when we get to it. Pick those. And then the tie. Oh, we're going to pick Stanley Cup winner and loser. I figure if you pick the right Stanley Cup winner, 10 points, 5 points for each conference champion. And then the tiebreaker will be Ovi. When does Ovi break the record? Did you look that up? Because I have a little. Did you look up? Did you pick a date when Ovi's going to break the record?
A date?
Do you think Ovi's going to break it?
Not this year.
You don't think Ovi's going to break it this year?
No.
Okay. So I'm saying yes, and I'm picking a game. It's just it's great. We'll get to it at the end of it. But I gotta pee though, so I gotta go get a drink and pee. Right. Yeah, this took way longer than I thought we were going to go.
It's crazy.
I was putting the other thing, like talking about the other day, and I was like, we'll probably talk like 15 minutes about the Flyers, 15 minutes about like the Red Wings, and like 15 minutes the off-season. Our off-season discussion took like an hour.
Yeah. It's crazy how much we talked earlier, and then this took way over too.
It's still over.
We do got to move through this decently fast because I got to do a little bit of dinner because we got to leave for Gabby's game here in a bit.
Yeah.
So I got to do dinner before we go.
All right. So let's get into it. And the game, we'll discuss what the prize is going to be. Maybe we can, if we get some subscribers here, like, subscribe, comment, we'll get some suggestions from them. Maybe we'll come up with some cool ideas, more creative than us, whatever it may be. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. We'll start with, I'm going to start with one of the easier ones. I'm going to start with the Calder. I'm obviously picking Matvei Michkov. I don't think I have much else to say. After he wins the Hart Trophy, he's obviously also going to be the Calder winner. Him and Celebrini are basically tied across the industry as the favorites to win it. You also have Will Smith, Cutter Goodyear, and some other guys. In my notes, as we talked about earlier, the second thing I wrote down was interested to see if Lee's going to be a dickhead or not, and he is 100% a dickhead. So go ahead and make your point.
Yep. So, being him, Schlupp being a Flyers fan, it only felt right with how that whole thing shook out. It only felt
Fuck
right
Cutter.
to make my Calder pick as Cutter Gauthier.
Fuck Cutter. I hate that kid.
Yeah,
I hope he plays every game and doesn't score.
I don't agree with how things shook out and why. Obviously, I see why he had to get moved. I understand the Flyers of that. I don't agree with his actions towards that. But that's
at least
neither here
I
nor there.
agree with you on that.
Yeah, that's neither here nor there. I still think he's a great player, and I have him. A year out of college. I have him taking it this year. College is a big deal. It helps a lot of those guys develop.
2 years of college.
Huh?
Played 2 years of college.
Yeah, it helps a lot of those guys develop, and I think that'll help him immensely. Just also doing that out of spite a little bit, but
yeah, definitely out of spite. You can go fuck yourself. I hate Cutter. Like I said, I have a lot of thoughts on this. We'll save it for another discussion because we don't have a lot of time on that. But not a fan of Cutter and everything. It would have been amazing to see him and Michkov debut together and come up, and it would have been insane to have 2 of the top 5 rookies debuting in the same year. But fuck yourself.
Yeah, just like the Lucas Raymond Mo Seider.
Were they the same year? Yeah. I mean, it could have been close. Except I don't know if either one of them were the betting favorite.
Oh, not preseason betting favorite, no.
Yeah.
But
they're 1 and 5.
They were the favorites at the end.
They're 1 and 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 1 and 5. Mavi Michkov and Celebrini are basically plus 400 across the industry. Stankoven, which I do like a lot because he's like not one of those. He's not a rookie. He played last year.
Yeah.
The only thing with him, I think Dallas is pretty deep. I'm not sure how much actually lands on him. Lane Hudson is plus 700, 4th overall, and then Cutter Gauthier plus 800.
Yeah.
And you have Will Smith, and then also Dustin Wolf and Yaskarov Sakharov.
Yeah.
But I do like Dustin Wolf a lot, kind of. I drafted him and fucking Yaskarov in our fantasy draft. I drafted both of those guys as my bench goalies. So hopefully one of them steps up.
Askarov's going to be a little tough. I think he'll be good. I think they'll be better. I still think he's going to lose a lot of games.
Agreed.
So for fantasy, it's going to be tough.
I drafted him. He was like one of my last picks in fantasy. I have him and Dustin Wolf as my 3 and 4 goalies. So I was like, that's fine. I have Saros and Darcy Cooper, I think. So I was like, whatever. Yeah. All right, next. What do you want to do next? You want to do Norris? You want to go first? Yeah, let's do Norris. Makar is the pretty heavy favorite. He is plus 240, between 230 to around 230 across the industry. You got Fox, Quinn Hughes plus 600, Bouchard 700, 750, Yossi, Heiskanen 12, 13. I know you picked Makar, so I'll let you go first.
Yep. It's a offensive award now, so that's where the choice comes from. I think he's sick. I've never seen a defenseman move like that. He's shifty, can kind of do everything. And the nice thing with him is just the offensive awareness. And, you see some of these defensemen, some of these better defensemen, it's not always ripping shots. He'll do a shifty little move and then see a screen somewhere and then just rip a little wrist shot, a little snapshot. But he puts it in the right spot and, goalies can't see it. You're that far out. There's that many bodies in front. Like, that's all you got to see, man. It's tough when you have that many people and how big these guys are. It's tough to pick up. So,
yeah.
And he's going to continue doing the thing he's doing. And, it's an offensive award now. I hate the Norris for that, but that's what it is.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I was trying to find a little bit of value in all these picks. Obviously not in the Calder because there was only one way I was going in that. But, when I first looked at it, I was like, I'm picking Yossi was plus 1,200, who is a guy who is right there in Makar in terms of points every year. He beat him the 1 year Makar won the fucking Norris, which is a whole other conversation we can get to another day. But I decided not to go with Yossi just because of another pick we'll talk about in a minute here. But I went with Bouchard plus 750. He finished fifth in voting last year. He finished the season with 82 points in 81 games, but he was only 10 points behind Hughes. He also finished plus 34 to Hughes' plus 38. The other guys in Yossi, Makar, and Fox were all in like the 15 to 21 range. Pre-All-Star, Bouchard had 43 points in 45 games. And then post, which is just under a point per game, post All-Star, he went 39 points in 36 games, which is just over a point per game. And then in the playoffs, he took that to another level, scoring 32 points in 25 games. And over the course of an 82-game season, that's a 104-point pace. So I think Bouchard has another level. I think Edmonton's better. I think Edmonton's going to win more games. I think their power play is the best power play in the league. They should be a lot better at 5-on-5 with the additions they made. So I don't see why Bouchard could not pick up a 10-point pace and end up winning. And I think if Edmonton ends up being the number one seed, there's a high chance Bouchard scored 90 points and he wins the Norris. So I keep saying the Heisman. But yeah, it was a good shot. Bouchard wins the Norris. So yeah. I like him a lot, plus 750. Going in,
man's gonna get paid. So
yeah. There you go. Yeah. What are your thoughts on Bouchard?
I like him. I know we talked about last year when we did our playoff draft, which was a lot of fun, and plan to do it this year again. I thought it was crazy that
Tone picked Bouchard.
Had picked Bouchard, yeah.
But it was a wild pick, and it almost worked out.
It worked out pretty well, yeah. Just crazy to me, but
yeah, it is pretty insane. But yeah, part of the reason why
it wasn't that far off, man. It wasn't that far off. It really
wasn't. Scored 32 points in 25 playoff games.
Yeah,
it's a 104-point pace over the course of a season.
Yeah,
I think Edmonton got better. He was only 10 points behind Hughes and plus 4 behind Hughes, who won the Norris last year. I don't see why he couldn't pick that up with Edmonton winning 8 more games.
Right.
So, like him a lot at plus 750. On to the Vezina. One of the reasons I did not pick Yossi to win this is because I picked Saros. I think Saros also finished 5th in voting last year. He actually had the worst year of his career with a 2.86 and a 906 save percentage, which is insane that that's the worst of his career. Because before that, his career worst was a 263 to 917. It's the first time he's been under 917 in his 8-year career, which is an insane stat. He is one of the few, maybe 3 goalies in the league who have the potential of playing 70-plus games. Yeah. Despite playing his worst year of his career, he still won 35 games, which was only 3 behind Georgiev for the league leading 38. I think Nashville is a much better team this year. They're going to have a lot better offense. They're going to be able to win more games. If he plays 70 games with the offense actually scoring behind him, there's no reason why he can't win 40 to 45 games. And if he does that, nobody's win the Vezina over him. So
yeah.
And at plus 1,500, lock it the fuck in. So that's my pick for the Vezina. Who you got?
I got Markstrom. Pretty easy pick for me. Just him playing in Utica, watching how good he was here.
It is wild that we actually got to see him play here.
Yeah, yeah.
Isn't that crazy? It's a comment, man.
Yeah. Yeah, he got robbed.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, seeing him here, seeing how good he is, watching him in Vancouver. Same stuff in Calgary. Calgary was horrible last year. And he still had decent numbers. So going to a team like New Jersey, like I said, it's weird for goalies. Like some of them like a little bit more work. It'd be cool to see, on a team like that, what like a top tier goalie can actually get them to.
Yep.
That's, I do, as a goalie my whole life, I do the eye test on a lot of that. I've liked him since I watched him. He's solid, moves around well. Looks like he sees the puck. For a big guy, he doesn't play a ton of games. It's not real durable, but he
used to be though.
Yeah. But he's a big guy on a good team. Gonna win a lot of games this year, and I think that could put them over the top too.
100%. It's part of the reason why I like the Devils a lot.
Yeah.
You got Markstrom basically plus 1,100 across the industry. You have Swayman and Shesterkin are the two favorites, basically plus 550, 600.
Mm-hmm.
Hellebuck 800. Then you got Demko and Sorokin about 900. Markstrom 1,100. And then you got Saros, Ottinger, Vasilevsky about like 12 to 1,500. Yeah, I like Saros a lot. Like I said, he won 35 games last year, playing the worst year of his career. I think Nashville's better. If he tops 40 wins and leads the league, how is he not the Vezina winner? But next we got the Hart. So first off, the Hart. This was a hard one for me because I do think McDavid wins the Hart. He is by far the big favorite. He is plus 150. The next guy is McKinnon at plus 650. Yep. Everybody else is basically like a plus 1,000 to 2,000 between Matthews, Hughes, Draisaitl, Kaprizov, Kuch, Pastrnak, and Makar. I do have a stat here. Let me read it to you. Over the past 3 years, Connor McDavid has scored 408 points. Second place in the league is 344. 64 points behind him, and that's his teammate, Leon Draisaitl. Absolutely wild stat. He's 64 points ahead of the next best player, and that is his teammate. I don't think there is a hungrier player in the league at this point than McDavid. Yep. After last year, and McDavid has proven that he is on another level. Kuch and McKinnon both did outscore him last year, but the difference being that McDavid has done this year after year. There's only 3 players in NHL history who have scored back-to-back 140-point seasons, which leads me into your Kucherov pick. But one of those 3 players is McDavid. The other 2 are Gretzky and Lemieux. So he is also third all-time in points per game behind Gretzky and Lemieux. There's no other pick than McDavid winning. But for the sake of this game, I have 2 guys written down. I am actually going to pick. I'm going to talk about one quick. Jack Hughes. I do think Jack Hughes has the potential to go to another level. I think if he plays all 80 games, he's going to score over 100 points. And likely, if the Devils are good, he's likely the reason behind it. But my pick for this exercise is going to be Kirill Kaprizov at plus 2,000. He has 279 points in the last 3 years, 220 so games. He averages almost 1.3 points per game over the last 3 years, which is insane. It's just the second best all time of active players behind McDavid, and I think he has potential to cross another level. I think. I think he's one of the few guys that actually can at plus 2,000. I think it's great value. But, I mean, in relative. Because, like I said, I think McDavid wins it. Had to pick a guy. I'm going to pick Kaprizov. I know who you're picking, who I was going to pick because he was the league leader in points last year. And everybody talked about how McDavid scored 100 assists last year, but nobody talked about how Kucherov also did that and led the league and got no credit for it. So I'll let you talk about Kuch from there.
Yeah. I obviously the McDavid pick is a good one. I still think that, value, I think Kuch is right there with him.
At plus 2,000 is insane value.
Yes.
Compared to a plus 150 for McDavid.
And the big thing I think going for him is, the production last year and now no Stammer. So he's going to be asking even more. And I think Getzel can help that.
Yeah. I think Getzel could be a better scorer than Stamkos is like last year. Not in Stamkos' prime, but like last year, right. I think. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I do like Tampa Bay a lot. There's going to be a lot riding on Kuch. He's going to get all the minutes he can handle.
Mm-hmm. But I do see the Jack Hughes pick. I just don't know if he's going to stay healthy.
Me too. That's why I went the Kaprizov.
Like 70 games. What are we getting? 65, 70 games out of him, maybe. We'll see.
So I went the Kaprizov.
I love Krill. I love Krill.
Yep.
So
I know. That's why I wrote down him and Hughes because I thought you might pick Krill.
Yep.
But I mean, that's where we're going. The Hart there.
Yeah.
I don't think I have anything more to say. You got anything more to say about the Hart?
No.
I mean, if Matthews somehow scores 75, he's going to win it. It's hard to go back-to-back 69 nice goal seasons. And that's the thing. That was why, like, I originally had Cooch written down, but again, only 3 people in the history of the league have gone back-to-back 140-point seasons, and Cooch is not one of those guys. Could he be? Maybe this year. But is Cooch on a McDavid, Draisaitl? Not Draisaitl. McDavid, Gretzky, and Lemieux level? It's an insane thing to do. So next, we have most improved player. So, interestingly enough, we did not talk about these picks one bit, and yet somehow we both landed on the same person, which kind of surprises me because it's not like it's Tage Thompson. It's not a guy I think any of us really think about off the bat, but he did have he had a 94-point season 2 years ago, which was a 38-point drop off last year, only scoring 56 points in 71 games. I think we'll get into this in a bit. I do think the Sabres are going to be better, and I think Tage Thompson could be a point per game player. I'll let you finish from here on out. Since you picked.
Yeah, I had him. Like I said, it's crazy that we picked the same guy.
It's wild.
We talked about this like just before, and we started eliminating people, and saw that it was like we're down to like a couple teams that this applies to.
Yep.
It was the same guy. So I watched him. I've watched him a couple times. Watched him in person. Went and watched
the big dude that shoots the puck.
Yeah. Moves well, shoots well. He had 94 points the year before, 56 last year.
Yep.
56.
38-point drop off.
Yeah, I think the Sabres continuing to underproduce somehow is insane, and I don't think, with Lindy Ruff, I'm thinking it changes. I mean, it's gotta. I don't. He's the pick. He's the guy. I think he's going to do big things in Buffalo.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, I agree. Tage Thompson was actually my second pick originally. It might have actually been my third. When we first started talking about this exercise, like I said, I really wanted Connor Bedard, and when I first went on it, I was like, oh, he's got to play 70 games. And Connor Bedard only played 68 games, but after we both picked Tage Thompson, you let me change my pick to Connor Bedard. So I'm going to go Bedard, who scored 61 points in 68 games last year. I think Bedard is that guy. I think he is a top level talent player. And if he got hurt last year, which is why he only played 68 games. And if he plays all 82, I think there's a solid chance he scores 100 points this year. And if he does, that's a 40-point increase on last year. So I am going to pick Bedard. Some of the other players I also thought about, I think you did too, was Jason Robertson. He only scored 80 points last year after having 109 the year before. It's a 29-point drop-off. But I just don't think he plays enough. Robertson is a top-level player, but he only plays 18 minutes a game. Dallas is just so deep that he just doesn't play enough. Yeah. He doesn't play 22 minutes that McDavid, McKinnon, and all these guys play. And, it doesn't seem like a lot, but, over an 82-game season, 4 minutes a night is a very big amount. So, just don't think he plays them out. And then one guy I also think who can take a jump this year is Quinton Byfield. Love Quinton Byfield. He only had 55 points last year, and I think he can take a step up and get closer to 80 this year. Yeah. Stepping up in a bigger role for LA this year. But what do we got? We got next. What's next? Most improved team. Originally, we both picked the Sharks. So because it is kind of
with 47 points last year.
It was kind of a cop out. We both thought we're playing the game because we're just playing for points here. They get 20 points better. They're still the worst team in the league, and it is what it is. Yeah. So we went both to our next pick. I'll let you talk about it first because you kind of just did.
Yeah. Sabres, I like them, but then obviously playing the game went Sharks just because of the big point differential. But the Sabres had 81 points last year. New coach this year, same team, Owen Power. Rasmus Dahlin, Tage Thompson. I like their team a lot. I like Tage a lot. with Lindy Ruff. Hopefully, he's an old school coach, but hopefully a new coach, kind of helps them get over the hump there, and finally produce what they should have been the last couple of years.
I agree. I mean, I like Tage. I like JJ Peterka this year. I think you could argue that Buffalo has one of the most promising, if not the better, defenses in the entire Eastern Conference.
Yeah.
Between Owen Power, Dahlin, and Bowen Byram. Yeah, I do think Buffalo takes a step up, but I also feel like we say this every year, and it just never happens.
The last couple of years,
I think Buffalo starts off like 10-0 every year and is out of the playoff race by like the All-Star break. So
Devin Levi looking for a step forward.
Devin Levi coming back. I think he'll have a better year than he did last year. But again, they're just one of those teams like Toronto. You gotta prove it to me before I can actually put my faith in you. So
I agree.
Okay, so my most improved team is going to be the Ottawa Senators. I don't know where I wrote this down somewhere, but yeah, the Ottawa Senators. They only scored 78 points last year. They get Ollis Lindmark in goal, replacing Carpusalo. I think Lindmark will be better. Lindmark is, like we talked about a little bit earlier, a little bit better used to facing non-defensive teams. He started in Buffalo. So he's got a little bit experience in having to save the day a little bit more than Corpusalo did playing for a defensive team.
Yeah.
I like, obviously, G's there. Love G. I think Shane Pinto if Shane Pinto takes another step, if Stützle stays on board, they can be pretty good. And like I said, they only scored 78 points last year. Scoring a couple more. Let's see, why not? They should be a playoff team. They still have Shabbat and Jake Sanderson on the back end. They traded Chychrun for Nick Jensen, which I don't necessarily agree with, but some people do.
I just like Nick, but I still think he's a bottom pairing defenseman.
Yeah. So I'm going to pick the Senators. Senators 78. The Sabres were 81, you said. So we're basically right there together on that.
Yep.
And then we have... what's left? The tiebreaker. The tiebreaker is Alex Ovechkin. Does Alex Ovechkin break the record this year? You say no. I'm going to say yes. I will say Alex Ovechkin is 42 goals short. We talked about this a little bit before. He's not only 42 goals short, he missed his entire rookie year, was the lockout of 04. And then he not only had that, he had the second lockout in whatever it was, 2012, 13, whatever it was, plus the COVID seasons. If none of those happens, he is probably most likely already the all-time leading goal scorer in the regular season. He is still 92 goals away, I believe, in terms of adding the playoff stats plus the regular season. Don't understand why we don't count that, but I'm counting that. And Ovi scored 53 his rookie year in the NHL. Yeah. So there's a good chance that in his actual rookie lockout year, he scores 42 goals, which makes him the all-time leader already. Yeah. He started off very slow last year, but finished with over 30 goals. If he kept that pace over the whole year, he would have been over 40 again. I am just going to give it to him just for the sakes of this show. And I am going to give Ovi breaks the record, scoring his 42nd goal of the season in game number 69 versus the Philadelphia Flyers. How fucking wild is that it all lines up? Even while they're part of that, game number 68, they play the Red Wings. He's going to break the record in one of those two games so we can talk about it on the channel.
Oh, my God.
Game number 68 versus the Red Wings. Game number 69 versus the Flyers, March 18th and 20th. He breaks the record this year. Regular season record.
Yeah.
He's going to finish with 45 this year. And that's it. You're saying no, I believe, right?
Yeah. I think we're more realistically looking at 25 goals.
I've been saying that for years. Yeah. The whole reason, I was one of the people who was saying he wasn't going to break this record because I was expecting him to fall off a cliff 5 years ago, and he never did.
Yeah.
Even last year, if you take the second half of his year, he's the second best goal scorer behind fucking Matthew. And guess what? guess what the Capitals' goal this year is? To get Ovi the record.
I know.
Ovi ain't playing D. He's fucking out there to score goals. So I'm gonna take him. Game number 69 versus the Flyers. Couldn't have worked out any better. Nice. And I think that's about it, right? Oh no, we didn't pick our winners.
The cup winner, a cup loser.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go. Okay, so cup winner. You want to go first? Yeah, I'll let you go first.
Cup winner. I had Nashville. They're deep. They got better. They play a defensive game. They're gonna score goals. Stammer on that team. Still got Yossi. Still got Saros. Like, I like them a lot. I just think they play that style. They're ready for playoffs. Stammer's gonna help a lot with that. And I have them beating the Rangers. Only reason I almost didn't have the Rangers there was because I hate them so much.
I feel you.
So that told me that, all right, the second I was thinking like, oh, I don't want to pick them. I was like, all right, well, I guess they're there because that thought's in my head.
Yep. Feel you there, man.
Can't stand them, so, still got them up there, but I do have them losing. I think Nashville's just that good. And I think the Rangers will fold like they always do at some point.
Yep. I agree. That's why I'm picking the Oilers. Like I said, I don't think there's a hungrier player in the league than McDavid. I think the Oilers did what they needed to do in adding pieces with what they can. I like Skinner and goal. They were the top team in the league last year after Knobloch took over. They rode that all the way to the cup. I think they can do a similar thing than what Florida did last year. You lose, you come back, you win it all. So I'm riding with the Oilers. I don't see why I wouldn't. And I am going from the East. It was a fucking tough pick, man. There's 3 teams I really like. Sadly, 2 of them are from my division. I'm going to go roll the Devils. The Devils are a good team. I think they get over the hump. I think Jack Hughes plays a full season. Markstrom and net, adding Brett Pesce with Dougie Hamilton coming back. I think there's a solid chance. I don't necessarily like the Rangers. I don't like the fucking Devils either, but yeah, I'm gonna ride. If I have to pick one of them, I'm gonna roll with the Devils. The Oilers beating the Devils in the final is my pick. So I think that's about it. Anything else you want to say for this episode?
No, looking forward to some hockey finally.
Yeah.
I know we have the 2 regular season games that no one could watch, but
we didn't talk about that. I did you watch the games at all?
No, I did not.
Yeah, so I watched the first 2 periods of the Friday game. Didn't watch the Saturday game. Devils looked amazing.
It was at 10 a.m.
Friday game.
Yeah, the Saturday game was at 10.
Friday was at 1. I don't know what Saturday. But yeah, I don't care to talk about the game. Don't really care. Like Devils, like Sabres, nobody cares.
No, we can wait till the first week after we start the Tuesday tomorrow.
I believe we are going to do this weekly.
Yep.
We're going to do this weekly. Episodes will probably be out Monday or Tuesdays, one of those 2 days. Yeah. Hope everybody, if anybody is watching, hope you enjoyed it. If you didn't, fuck off. Don't care. Feel free to talk shit in the comments. I will read it because I'm a psychopath. If not, don't care. Yeah. Like, subscribe, comment. We love you. I think
love
this
hockey.
Is
so
about it.
Anything about it, bring it up, put it down, let us know. We'll talk about it. Love hockey.
So. Anything, literally. You got a good subject? Put it in the comments. We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's about it for this episode. The first episode of your Friendly Neighborhood Fatties Hockey Podcast. Still brainstorming on that name, but
yeah. Supposed to have the first half of that start other stuff, but
yeah.
Technically,
we should have had a whole nother podcast in the works already, but we won't talk about that. Blame the guy on the cover. Anyways, we're gonna have to add you to the cover. We have to make a new cover.
Yeah.
Anyways, that is the end. We love you. We may not love you. I don't know. Who cares? Fuck you. Bye. Have fun.
See ya.